And then I will share my screen too. Okay. Does everybody see that?
Oh, next page.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, please join me for the pledge.
There it is.
Allegiance to the
To the
flag,
flag,
United States,
United States of America,
and
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God, indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
I like that.
You did it.
Yeah.
We learned that.
That's a good one.
No, it's just some kind of background.
Welcome to our September 21st meeting. Let me get out my agenda. That would really help. And
There it is.
on the screen. So first off, we've got a packed agenda tonight, and that we're going to be voting on endorsing a ballot measure, and we have 10 candidates asking for endorsement tonight.
Can you hear everybody?
Okay, could everybody please mute themselves until they're ready to talk? At our meetings, we don't mute everybody. We ask them to mute themselves.
No idea.
Okay, Michael Itsumi?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. Okay, thank you. Anyway, welcome to the Tri-Valley Democratic Club. And you can see that the agenda is on the screen. There's a few things that I wanted to mention. We've been getting a lot of calls about lawn signs, and we've been talking about that in the chat before the meeting. And I don't believe we have Angela Ramirez Holmes, but Bob, a few pages up.
Alice, can I make a quick announcement on that?
Who's that?
This is Sean.
Sean,
Okay, Sean.
go for it, Sean.
I just got off the phone with Angela, and she wanted me to let everyone know that this Saturday at IBW from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., they'll be having a pop-up shop. They have Biden-Harris lawn signs for $10, and there will be other merchandise for sale. All proceeds go to benefit the United Democratic Campaign Office, which will be used to get out the vote efforts for the Tri-Valley.
Okay.
Alameda County side.
Okay. So
And Angela sent us an email. If you can roll up the screen a few pages, Bob, you'll see the email from Angela. There it is. Okay. And it's basically what Sean said. But in addition to that, you can hook up with the UDC at TV UDC on Facebook. I don't believe that they have a web page, at least she didn't mention it yet. And there's also a phone number. If you live in Pleasanton or care to go to our house in Pleasanton, you can call up that phone number and arrange with her to pick up a lawn sign from her front porch. So there's that going on. Somebody's making a lot of noise. Thank you. Thank you, whoever that was.
Nicole.
for stopping it. Anyway, welcome Nicole and Evan. Eloise, are you on here? Eloise was going to dig up some more lawn signs.
I don't think I've seen her.
Okay, she isn't here. And if she arrives, she said that one of her neighbors in Dublin had some Biden-Harris lawn signs, and she was going to go knock on her door and see if she would answer. But right now, to change the subject, after the lawn signs, there's the 2021 club officers. Bob, right now, although he looks like he's on your screen, he's actually in Southern California. And he has moved down to Ventura County. He showed me the beach you can see out his window. And so he's not going to be our treasurer in 2021. as I announced at, I believe, the last meeting, I'm planning on re-retiring, that is retiring again. So we're looking for another president also. Ron was staying on the job, and Aparna indicated that she was going to be doing other things. So we're also looking for a club secretary. So if you know anybody who is interested, or if you're interested, please get to me or Ron Lorenz. Tell us about it. And we're not going to just abandon ship. We're planning on helping whoever takes over the club, getting up to speed and keeping the club going. So much for that. Oh, Eloise is here. Eloise, did you add about lawn signs?
Sorry, yes, I did. Shirley Lewandowski, my neighbor, has 50 of them that are free.
Oh,
Okay, what kind of signs are they? Are they lawn or window?
They're lawn signs.
They're lawn signs. And how would we get a hold of her or you, or how would you like to do this?
I'll get them from her for anybody who wants them, and I'll even deliver them.
oh,
Oh, you'll even deliver them?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to put your phone number in the chat so that,
or maybe her email.
or your email so people can get in touch with you?
Damn.
Can you do that?
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
This is looking weird here.
Yeah, she's on an iPad also, so we can't walk her
If you
through it.
want, Eloise, I could get your email off the roster and do that for you.
Right.
Okay, that would be great because this is looking different. I've got the agenda and
Yeah.
I can
Let me
see
go.
Alice and whoever's speaking. So that would be great, Bob. Thanks.
I'll go get it. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so Bob is going to put Eloise's contact information. Eloise lives in West Dublin, way up on a hill. But as she said, she'd be willing to deliver them. So contact Eloise and get yourself a lawn sign. Okay, let me move on. We've already endorsed 19 candidates, and I made a list of them. They're further down in this thing, Bob.
Yes.
Okay, these are the minutes, but it's further than this.
Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a big list, and it goes all the way from Vinnie Bacon for supervisor, all the way down to people in city councils and school boards. And this is the most that we've endorsed in any single year. And I hope, I'm sure that this is happening throughout the country also. Somebody's, Eloise, your speaker's on.
I'll get her.
Eloise?
Got it.
Okay. As I said, this is a large number of candidates, and I know that all of them aren't going to win, especially since that some of them are running against each other, and there's only one seat. But I invite all of the candidates to join the club and use it as your platform and become active members of the club. This has been a very active club, and it's your club too. Okay, let's go back to the agenda at the beginning. I think it's page 2, please. There we go. Okay, so tonight we have 10 candidates, and there are some things that I wanted to point out. The first one is that Rosie Henze turns out is not a Democrat. I sent that out on the agenda, and I found out yesterday that he's not a Democrat. He's an independent or no party preference. Tonight, I expect that several candidates might be pulled from the consent calendar. All candidates will be put on the consent calendar, and after they have made their statement, their 8-minute statements, any club
8
member,
minutes?
excuse me? Each candidate will be given 8 minutes. They'll make their statement, and then any club member can choose to pull a candidate from the consent calendar, in which case the person that's pulling the candidate gets 2 minutes to say why they pulled the candidate and why they're going to vote against them. And the candidate is going to get 2 minutes to reply or rebuttal what has been said. Then club members will get a chance to make a short statement.
Hi, Alice.
I'm thinking 30 seconds, no more, about anything we hadn't considered prior to that, and then we'll vote. The vote will be in the participants' window, and everybody will see who voted and who voted for whom, or voted against whom.
That isn't right.
The list that I sent out, and it's on the last page of this this PDF. It's all the way at the bottom, and check to see if you're a voting member. If you're a voting member, you should be on this list. And if anybody is not on this list who feels that they should be voting, please tell us now or forever hold your peace. This is from the last list that Bob sent me of paid members. And we didn't have anybody join since then, so that everybody on this list is eligible. They met the 28-day rule. Okay. Ron Lorenz and Jackie Rankel will count up the votes in the participants window, although everybody is invited to count with them, but count to yourself. Okay. And they'll report it. I asked the candidates who are in competitive races who might think they're going to be pulled to include during their 8 minutes why the club shouldn't pull them. And Dr. Dinesh, who was here, he does have a last name, but way too long,
Alice, that's
it
not nice.
asked that 2 of his minutes, of his 8 minutes, be allocated to endorsers, other people who will speak on his behalf. And I said, that's okay. And if any of the other candidates would like to do something like that, let us know. Okay, let's go back to the agenda, please.
And who's going to take care of the time?
Oh, and Ron and Jackie, well, Ron Lorenz is going to be the timer, as he was the last time. And speaking of Ron Lorenz, Ron is going to tell us about our YouTube channel. And tonight's meeting will be on our YouTube channel. Ron.
Mute.
There you go.
Okay, unmuted. That's good. So we have a YouTube channel to show videos and audio. Includes candidate statements up to 3 minutes in a time period that is allocated specifically for them. So if the candidates who are endorsed by us want to email to me, they can do that. My address is rlorentz66@gmail.com, and we can post your video. You can also post an additional sheet of paper if you want. And so that will give you some kind of visual in addition to a 3-minute video. Everybody who is endorsed by us can go on to our YouTube channel, which is accessible to the general public and to all of us. The way you get to our YouTube channel is that you go to youtube.com and then you type in Tri-Valley, Trivalley, Democratic Club, DEMOCRATIC CLUB. And then you punch enter and that gets you into our website. And then you can negotiate around and you can see the videos posted for each of the candidates and any other agenda items, both verbal, visual, and then we also have some written content. So anyone can go to our YouTube channel just as though you were going to watch a video of the Rolling Stones or someone else, and you can get to our site, and candidates can send the video to us through me. Any questions about that?
I'd like to point out that tonight's
Okay.
meeting will be also posted there. So watch what you say, because this reflects the club. And
Yeah.
we'll be sending out a press release notifying the press that whatever candidates we endorse have been endorsed, and also including a link to the video of tonight's meeting. And Rhonda, when do you think tonight's meeting might be posted?
We'll try to post, I'm not going to be able to do that since I'm
I'll
on
be
the
able to
road
do it.
until Bob can
Oh,
post.
okay.
Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, so it should be up there tomorrow. Plenty of time for the press release.
Yeah.
Question. So that means that meetings that have occurred so far on Zoom are posted there now?
Yes, I'll accept the very first one we did on Zoom. That
I
was
think
the
we
one.
had this conversation.
Yeah,
you.
that was the one that disappeared.
Yeah,
That went,
learning curve,
it's like
learning
the
curve.
18 minutes missing on the tape.
There you go.
Bob's
Bob
boo-boo.
gets the Rosemary Wood Award.
That's who she was.
Okay, is that it, Ron?
That's it.
Okay, then again.
Bob, what's the treasurer going to report?
So we've had actually a big couple of people that joined last month. So our membership has been up. And then the only other thing that happened financially last month was we paid our annual insurance for the club. Basically overall, we're up $700 from the beginning of the year. We have a balance of $4,052.96. So
Good.
a nice healthy number. Membership is up to 112, which is pretty equivalent to what it was a year ago. So it's a little shy of what we had last year. We had 116, but that's pretty good from where we were earlier in the year. So
Is Sean still on here?
he is.
Sean Kumagai?
I'm here.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the UDC is doing, and I might suggest that we give some money to the UDC as we have in prior years.
Oh, we would certainly appreciate that. Well, the UDC, for those who don't know, the United Democratic Campaign is how the Alameda County Democrats organize during campaign season. So this year, we will be doing everything virtually. As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we're going to be selling some merchandise to help raise some money, but there are other expenses, including our slate card, which is a very, very big part of what we do. So, a contribution would certainly be welcome and put to good use. We will also be hosting a number of virtual events, and Congressman Swalwell is always very gracious in allowing us to store our materials there at IBW, so it just makes for kind of a good launching point for field organizing. Yeah, keep an eye out on our website that will be coming out and our Facebook page. We're going to be having a number of candidates host virtual events throughout the season, and it should be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And in case you didn't know it, the Contra Costa Central Committee also has a political action committee, a PAC, and we can legally give money to a PAC. We can't give it to a candidate or to a ballot measure, but we can give it to a PAC. And what I'm going to suggest is we give $1,000 to the Tri-Valley UDC and $500 to the Contra Costa UDC. Do I have a second to for that motion, please?
I second that.
Okay.
Okay. We have $4,060 something in the treasury.
Yep.
And literally, aside from that insurance, which Bob just paid, so don't count the insurance in it, we haven't got any expenses.
Yep.
We've been very lucky because the IBW never charges us for that room. And,
Wonderful.
and it's a wonderful thing. So is there anybody who would like to speak on this aside from me and Sean? Seeing none, I'm going to take a vote. All in favor, just give me a verbal yes.
Yes.
Yes. Aye.
Yes.
And are there any no's?
Demands, what are they now?
No no's.
They want Paul to pull out of the election, although
Excuse me? I didn't hear the question.
No, I think that was a side conversation.
Oh, okay. So I think we just did that. And Bob, you get with Sean and find out how to do that. And I will get you the information about how we do this in Contra Costa. Okay?
Sounds great.
Okay. Can we have the agenda up again, please?
Oh yeah, let me get that going.
Okay, and the next item on the agenda were the August minutes. Is Aparna with us tonight?
I didn't see her on the.
No, she isn't here. The main things we did were endorse Proposition 14 and 15, and endorse all of those candidates that I've made bigger on this picture. Okay, so this is part of the 19 that we've already endorsed. Does anybody have any corrections or anything to the minutes? Seeing none, we'll say that the minutes have been accepted. Jackie, are you here?
yes, I am.
Aha. What do you have to report about the Central Committee?
Okay, I have a quick little presentation if I can share my screen.
Yeah, let me give me 1 second. I will stop. And let you share. Hold on. Okay, you should be able to share now.
Promise to be quick. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is in honor of you, Bob. I'm so envious that you're staying near the beach, so I had to get my beach picture out there.
Thanks for that, yeah.
Thank you.
The first thing is the Resolutions Committee, which meets about a half hour before the Central Committee meeting. They did have a meeting and they approved 5 different resolutions, and I'll talk briefly and kind of go through the FEM Truth ones. They kind of require a little explanation. So there's 2 related to FEM Truth. There's FEM Truth Curriculum and ACEs, which stands for Adverse Child Experiences. There was also a holdover from the last committee meeting regarding the sale of the Coliseum to the Oakland A's, and this was regarding instead of just selling the property as is without the normal bidding process, the concern from Pamela Price, who brought this issue up, is that it's being undersold, and you know, we're giving away all those revenues that could be used to other services there in Oakland. There was also a new resolution for PPE for census workers. If you can imagine, we actually have to try to push that issue for census workers to get protective equipment so they don't have to pay for it. And then the resolution that Ellis wrote and team from Tri-Valley Democratic Club was presented to the resolutions committee as well. And that is to hold corporate individuals accountable when they do things that hurt others. So that resolution was also presented. All of these resolutions did pass the committee, as well as the central committee and the general session. Everything was passed there as well. FinTruth curriculum resolution kind of takes a little explanation. At first, I didn't quite understand it, but during the course of the conversation, what this is related to is trying to get female health, or people that were born as females. So it's trying to be all inclusive to include people that do not no longer consider themselves female, but they were born as female, and trying to get the attention of Nadine Burke-Harris, who is the Surgeon General, as well as other lawmakers, to understand the importance of teaching, instead of putting these issues into sex education, putting them into health programs. And it's not just about having cramps, it's diseases like endometriosis, as well as fibromyalgia. So there are serious diseases that we need to educate parents and kids and move this into more of the health realm instead of sex education. So I do have a copy of the curriculum here. I won't read the resolution. I won't read the whole thing. We will include it in the notes, as well as the resolution that goes hand in hand with that is when children or people that were born female, if they're belittled and made to think that this is just, it's just a period, don't worry about it. And they actually has adverse effects on their childhood development, as well as having these stigmas and things stay with them for a lifetime. So that's what this other piece is, is adverse childhood experiences and how that affects children. And of course, here is our resolution. I think Ellis did send this out with the last agenda. But again, holding corporate individuals criminally responsible for decisions that endanger the public. So that is the Goldberg resolution.
May I point out that not only did the Alameda County Central Committee pass that resolution, but now the Contra Costa Central Committee has passed the resolution. So we have 5 groups: the San Ramon Valley Dems, the Diablo Valley Dems, and first of all, the Tri-Valley Dems passed the resolution, and they all passed it unanimously.
All right, and that one did not have any debate at all. Some of the resolutions did have quite a bit of conversation, but that one just flew through the committee. So good job on that, Ellis, thank you. And this is just a brief little write-up of our Surgeon General. And she's known for linking adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress with harmful effects to life, to health issues later in life. So this is who they're really trying to get the attention of, as well as our elected officials. Then there was a quick touch base on our, On our Democratic convention, Rocky Fernandez provided the update. As you all know, everything was virtual. He did mention that there was a really good poverty caucus. I have not yet watched it, but I want to try to find that. The Democratic Party platform did pass. However, there was 1,069 who voted against it. And primarily Medicare was the primary driver, where some folks did not vote for the party platform. Here are a couple press releases from the Democratic meeting. All of the various city amendments, mainly they are tax related issues, nothing for the valleys, nothing here, but you can see all the different cities that had measures that were endorsed by the committee.
That list is on the Alameda County Democratic Party website, including all of the candidates that have been endorsed.
Another thing that was discussed, there was a report provided by the screening committee with the upcoming November election. The Democratic Party, Alameda County Democratic Party had over 135 Democratic candidates for local office that they were reviewing and trying to get them through consent. So there was a process. They laid it all out. Pretty much, they sent a survey to all of these people, reviewed it, and I believe it was the members of the e-board who reviewed those and put a lot of people on automatic consent. Some still had to be interviewed. There was an interviewing process on the 12th. Where they finished up. And this is the result and the press release regarding the endorsements. And I highlighted the various endorsements for the Tri-Valley. And you see them here: Alameda County Supervisor, Vinny, Superior Court, Mark, Alameda Council Member, Jim Odie, Honorable Malia Velia. Also, I want to note here that if there was more candidates than they could vote for, they would only vote. So for instance, Livermore Council Member, District 3, Brittany. So there's only one person they could endorse for there. And so she obtained the endorsement. If there were two positions, like you'll see some of the council member, there's two positions, they did go ahead and endorse no more than what was available. So again, I won't go through all the names here, but we do have them. We'll send it out. Again, I tried to highlight our areas that for our club. And that is pretty much it. There was a couple other assembly bills that were endorsed. They have also already passed the Senate and Assembly. So these are kind of matching the Democratic, or the Central Committee kind of matched what our elected officials were planning to vote on. And that was SB 1079, which was a statewide tenant opportunity for purchase act. AB 841, which is energy efficiencies in school buildings. And AB 3214, which doubles the penalties for oil spills. So those are also endorsed. I don't have the press releases for those yet, but as soon as I have them, I will submit them to the club.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Excellent report.
Thank you. And you can stop sharing my screen. Oh, do I need to do it? Do I have to do it?
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Good navigating. Moving on, is Bill Woodruff here? No. Andy Bindle? Both of them had announcements, but we'll skip over that. Let's go into our ballot measure endorsement, which is Prop 16. Sean brought this to my attention after the last meeting, I think. Anyway, he brought it to my attention. And it is the affirmative action amendment. And we had affirmative action in California until 1996, when it was overturned with Proposition 209. and this would overturn Proposition 209. And the essential question is this country, or does this country have systemic racism? If it does, this is a remedy for that. If you believe that it doesn't, then it is not a remedy for it because it is not a problem. So I propose that we vote for it. And is there anybody who would like to speak in opposition to it? Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of it? Sean, hint, hint.
I would like to say a few words, Ellis. Thank you very much. I do want to point out that Proposition 16, as you described, would reverse Prop 209. 46 out of 50 states in this country have affirmative action. We're one of 4 that do not. And this affirmative action not only applies to racial or ethnic groups, it also applies to gender equity. So what we find is in states that have affirmative action programs, that it creates opportunity for women-owned businesses. And the nice thing about women-owned businesses is that women-owned businesses tend to hire women more and put them in positions of management and put them on a path for additional opportunity. So it kind of has a multiplying effect. And I do want to mention just that there are certain detractors from this effort within the Asian community particularly, who feel that this proposition or that affirmative action in general might somehow limit access for them. And I just want to say that that is not true, that in states where they have affirmative action, the data clearly shows that it creates opportunity for Asian-owned businesses, that their public schools are creating more opportunity for API students than our schools are. We're actually falling behind in that sense. So overall, the time is long overdue. It's time for us to right this wrong, to nullify Proposition 209, and to get back on track with the rest of the country in having affirmative action programs that address systemic racism and gender inequity.
Hey, is there anybody else who would like to speak on this? I can't see who it is.
I can say a few words. This is Amelia. So full disclosure, everyone, I am the press secretary on Prop 16, but that's aside from my, prime slot as a member of the Tri-Valley Dem Club. But I just wanted to build on what Sean said, is that this is really about racial and gender equality and taking a concrete step towards, creating more opportunities for all Californians. This is not going to instate affirmative action immediately. It's going to allow us to think about, talk about, and perhaps instate programs that pay special attention to race and gender moving forward. So that's one thing. But I think, it's really important to know who is in favor of this. This is supported by, Vice Presidential candidate and our Senator Kamala Harris. It's endorsed by Gavin Newsom, the ACLU, the CTA, the founders of Black Lives Matter. And, I think we can all say, especially in 2020, we understand that the playing field is not level at this point. And this is not the only step we need to take to make a difference in this arena, but it is one concrete step that we can do to really create opportunities in terms of not just higher education, but also admissions and public contracting and hiring and all of that. So thank you.
Yeah, pardon me for not being muted when the phone rang. Is there anybody else? Sean, you have your hand raised?
Oh no, I was just clapping for Amelia.
Oh.
Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you,
Happiness
guys.
goes.
Oh, no. That was a silent clap with one hand.
Yeah, and this can make a difference with like studying COVID. We can actually look at racial disparities when it comes to like health outcomes and stuff. We have like, 50% of our graduating seniors are Latinos, but 65% of our California teaching population is white. Like, there are a lot of really interesting things we can do if we pass Prop 16.
Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you, Amelia.
I think we're ready to take a vote. All in favor, give me a verbal yes.
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 Any opposed? Seeing no opposition and no abstentions. Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now we move on to the main event.
Oy. Excuse me.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Right. My wife is ready to rumble here.
You weren't supposed to hear that.
Okay. I know I saw Steve Dunbar in there, and I hope he's revved up for this. We're going to go in the same order that is on the agenda, which is first Bart, then San Ramon, Danville, then Dublin. And somebody asked me why we did this. My father taught me to shoot pool, take the easy shots first. So that's basically what I designed this to do.
Didn't you play against Jackie Gleason or something?
No, something that's another
Honeymooners.
No, it was actually the real Minnesota Fats.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyway, another story. I'll tell you that over coffee. Steve Dunbar, you have 8 minutes to tell us why we should endorse you for BART Director, District 5. Steve, welcome. And I don't think we've met you before.
I think you have. I've been to a couple meetings in person, and I was at the meeting last month.
Steve Dunbar is.
Okay.
There was no face and name match. I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna mute myself and go for it. And Ron Tomham.
Thanks, Ellis. Hi, everyone. My name's Stephen Dunbar. I'm running for BART Board District 5, which includes Livermore, the Tri-Valley in general, unincorporated, and all the cities, plus Castro Valley, Hayward, and Fairview over the hill from us. In lieu of a background, I have my toy BART car over here. I'm kind of glancing at the questions that were asked in the email. I'm running for office because I care deeply about public transit and the communities that it creates and the people that it serves. I have been a transit-dependent rider up until January. I didn't even own a car, so I've been transit-dependent, and I have seen where the system is broken down. I have lived in Hayward and in Livermore, so I've actually commuted from Hayward to Livermore for many years, really early in the morning on BART trains, and had enough struggle with that I wanted to make it better. The other thing about me is that I work in public transit. Actually, I work for Gillig in bus manufacturing. Obviously, I don't represent them, but that means I have a lot of technical experience in public transit, and I know how to fix the problems that I see on a day-to-day basis. And I know how to ask tough questions about how to fix them, how to prioritize them. I'm running to make BART more open, meaning that your feedback is welcome and valued, and I am actively searching for it. I'm looking to make BART more accessible, both in the classic sense of accessible and in the sense that we've seen recently, which is about public safety and about how people of color do not feel safe. And I'm also looking to make it sustainable, both in the environmental and physical sense. So public transit is a backbone for public good, and we need to make sure it survives COVID, so it's here to serve us in the future and serve our least represented communities. So those are my focuses.
That's it.
In terms of why
Somebody
you should vote
needs
for me,
to mute themselves, please.
those are my focuses. You should vote for me because I am a big transit nerd with a heart of gold, and I know all the little nitty gritty details that need to get fixed to make sure that BART is sustainable and public transit beyond BART is sustainable into the future. In terms of the pandemic, my picture on my website is me with a mask. I think that's just a sign of supporting other people, making sure that everybody feels safe beyond all of the technical details of why it's effective. But like I mentioned, I'm an engineer in public transit. I'm very familiar with the details of what is actually dangerous on public transit in terms of COVID and what isn't. For example, AC Transit did a study about what is the most effective way to clear air in a bus very quickly. And it actually didn't involve opening all the windows. It involved keeping the roof hatch open and running the air conditioner at the fullest fan speed. So stuff like that is like the level of detail that you need to understand sometimes to make sure that people are safe during COVID, and I bring that to the table. In terms of my personality, like I mentioned, I was very transit dependent for a long time, but it's been with me for a long time, even before I was in the Bay Area. My mom has had MS since before I was born. So she hasn't driven since before I was born. She got to work at the hospital on public transit in the Central Coast, where public transit is even worse than it is here. And she got me and my brother to pre-K on a trailer on the back of an adult tricycle, basically. And she got food for the family on that adult tricycle at the local grocery store. And so I keep coming back to my mom when I think about the communities that BART creates, that public transit creates, and that it allows people to access all of these wonderful amenities that the Bay Area has equitably. So that's why I care about public transit. And that's why I'm running for office, to represent all those people. And so that's my spiel, and I'll let anybody else have the floor who wants to ask any questions at this point.
There was a question about Prop 16. We just voted on it. What's your feeling?
Yeah, I also support it. I mean, Sean put it way better than I could have.
Hey, anybody have any pressing questions for him? Okay, we can move on to the next candidate, and we'll be voting on you at the end of the meeting.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, and thank you for. You're a member of the club now, am I correct?
That's correct.
Oh, great. How many people are running for that seat?
3. There is the incumbent. I just wish he was more open and reachable. I've found that my example is that the BART transfer lights at the BART station, so that the buses don't leave before the train gets there, have been broken for a long time. And I felt like I never got enough interest in that problem. It's been broken for a long time. The other guy is a very conservative person, you know, pro-gun, anti-housing, the anti-me.
Were you endorsed by the Alameda County Central Committee?
I did not get an endorsement. Me and the incumbent got no endorsement mutually.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one up is Dr. Dinesh Govindarao. No wonder I'm sorry. Just Dr. Dinesh.
Hey, thanks, Ellis.
Here you go.
Hey, are you able to hear me okay?
Yep.
Great.
Yes.
And then just so I wanted to mention, I know you mentioned some people are going to be speaking on my behalf. Just there are going to be 2 people. Just wanted to make sure that that you knew that. So I will take up part of the time, and then and I'll introduce them after I'm done. But like Alice mentioned, I'm Dr. Dinesh Govindarao, and I want to thank the Tri-Valley Democratic Club for giving me the opportunity to discuss my candidacy for San Ramon Mayor. My vision for San Ramon is to make it the best city to live, work, and raise a family. My parents immigrated to this country from India in 1971 and built their American dream off a foundation of their strong family values that include humility, compassion, respect, and a strong work ethic. And I'd like to start off by talking about my background. It's quite unique compared to the other candidates who are running for mayor. I'm a local kid who grew up in San Ramon and graduated from California high school, and then went off to UC Berkeley. I became a doctor and came back to the city to raise a family. And my wife and I are raising our 4 kids here in San Ramon. Now I'm running for mayor because I not only understand the true diversity and fabric of our community, but also the demand for medical expertise and leadership at this juncture. And this election cycle is unprecedented because we're facing one of the biggest challenges of a lifetime with the COVID-19 crisis, and it's demanding strong leadership. And this very demand for a pioneer and proactive medical governance and leadership has compelled me to run. And I understand the medical, the social, the economic impacts this crisis has on our community. And as San Ramon's mayor, I'll explore ways to navigate our city through these challenging times with COVID-19 by looking at ways to partner with our county and our state health departments to look for optimal solutions to keep our economy going without compromising the safety of our residents. I've been a physician for 23 years, and 19 of those years have been in medical leadership roles. I also have a vast amount of leadership experience involving budgeting, operations, and people management. Excuse me. And sorry, I got this little cough here. In my medical leadership over these last 19 years. And I assure you it's not COVID. It's just, I went running earlier and I kind of triggered a little bronchospasm here. But from running, so what I've done over the years, I've ran a medical department that took care of approximately 10,000 employees to overseeing, I oversaw 250 on-site clinics across the country, to my current role as a public employee, as the chief medical officer of a large state agency. I've time and time again been able to step in various industries and have made a transformative change. And I have a proven track record and transferable skills to really lead the city. Additionally, I'd like to bring positive impact toward other highly relevant issues that I feel is important for San Ramon, and others that I've talked to also feel are very important, such as safety, reducing traffic, preserving open space, controlled growth, continued economic development, financial responsibility, and promoting diversity, inclusion, and equity, and also a sense of community. And I'd like to further discuss the topic of community. My parents, like I mentioned earlier, we moved to San Ramon back in 1979 when San Ramon was a small town, approximately 20 to 25,000 people. So this was before Bishop Ranch was around and before San Ramon was incorporated. 41 years later, the city has tripled to quadrupled in size to over 83,000 residents. And I've had the opportunity to see the city transform over the last 41 years from growing up in the old part of San Ramon and now currently living in the new part of San Ramon. And people that are from San Ramon have kind of felt that it's 2 different cities, divided by the Acosta Boulevard, sort of that division line. And I have a deep understanding of the old and new communities of San Ramon from being raised here and coming back to raise my own kids in San Ramon. And so since 2007, I've been heavily involved with uplifting our youth. And to me, there's no bigger impact one can have on their community than uplifting our future generation. I've been involved in the PTA as a board member, as well as Reflections Chair. I've coached our San Ramon youth in softball, baseball, basketball, and soccer for 12 years. I've also been heavily involved in my kids' classroom activities and field trips as a volunteer for Bay Area Children's Theater Advanced Performers. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to explore avenues to bridge our older and our newer communities to have a sense of feeling that we all live in one San Ramon. And I really feel I'm that bridge. Now, having called San Ramon my home, excuse me, for 41 years, I have a strong passion for really giving back to the city that has given so much to me and my family. And since a young age, I have a penchant for helping others, whether it's practicing medicine or public health or now running for office. And you have many excellent candidates to choose from. And this election cycle is unprecedented because we're facing one of the biggest challenges of a lifetime with the COVID-19 crisis, and it's demanding really strong leadership. And 2 of our mayoral candidates are running from a safe seat, and their 20% voting power will be the same as mayor. And having a diverse professional backgrounds will only strengthen our San Ramon Council. Currently, the council does not have a physician on it. And as a physician running for public office, my #1 priority is to keep our one San Ramon safe, healthy, and thriving. And I hope for those reasons, I discussed, you do not pull my name today, and I hope to get your vote. And I would just ask everyone to please visit my website at Dr. Dinesh, Dr. Dr. My first name, Dinesh, for sanramon.com, either my Facebook or my Facebook page, Instagram page, and please also watch my campaign video. I'd like to thank everyone for giving me the time to speak to this group today, and I'm quite honored to be able to introduce my two dear friends, San Ramon neighbors. The first one who will be speaking is Joe Anderson, and the next one will be Amar Man. And so they're gonna go and speak. So Joe, if you'd like to, hopefully you're there and you're off mute, and hopefully kick it off to you.
We have a total of 2 minutes time remaining.
Okay. Then let me speak really quick. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on Dinesh's behalf. I've been a Tri-Valley, San Ramon, Danville resident for the past 31 years. I've had the opportunity to raise 5 kids here in this community. With that said, I was really happy to hear that someone of Dinesh's stature was running for mayor. I've had the opportunity to know Dinesh for the past 10 years. In fact, he coached my youngest daughter in softball, who's now going on to play at Santa Clara. Later on, I've had the opportunity to coach with Dinesh. During that time, I've just witnessed his ability to relate to many different people. I've got to understand his commitment to our community of San Ramon. I think choosing Dinesh and endorsing Dinesh for the mayor of San Ramon would be a great thing. He is truly, and again, I want to talk about the person who he is. This is just a part of him. His heart is in San Ramon. But I don't want to take up the full 2 minutes. I saw Richard's name there, and he scares me. So let me move this on.
Hey, thanks,
15
Joe.
15 seconds remaining.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can Amar speak, or is it too late?
15 seconds remaining.
Okay.
All right. Well, all I want to say is, yeah, I've known Dinesh for over a decade, and he's the person that has the right vision that San Ramon needs, that's going to bring our community and all people in San Ramon together. He has the intelligence and leadership skills demonstrated, the ability to inspire and bring people together. And I hope that you and the members on this call will all give him your vote and endorsement.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Dinesh and Mr. Anderson, and Joe, I didn't catch his last name. And welcome to our meeting, and thank you for participating. I think we're ready to move on to the city of Danville. Somehow I think his picture is frozen. Okay, the other people seem to be moving. In Danville, we have 3 seats open on the town council. Danville is a town, not a city. Although I wrote in city council on there, it's really town council. And the first candidate is Newell Arnerich, who is the sole incumbent on our calendar today. And we have 4 Democrats, and as I understand it, 9 candidates in total for the Danville City Council. So without further ado, Newell Arnerich.
Great, thanks, Ellis. I am Newell Arnerich, 6th-term mayor, council member of Danville. And what's the difference between a town and a city? Well, actually, there is none. Back in the mid-'80s, state constitution was changed, and you could use the word city or town interchangeably. So we have a town manager, we have a town attorney, but when it came to city clerk, they forgot to change that, so we have a city clerk. But thank you to Ellis and all of you for presenting this opportunity and for your dedication to getting out the vote and participating in local governance. I always tell people, if you want to run for office, there's only one reason you run. And it's all about wanting to help people and make lives better. And that should be our focus. My focus for the past few years has been maintaining our small town atmosphere and outstanding quality of life. And I say this, and I've said it for many years, Danville didn't happen by accident. It was carefully planned. with a clear vision on focusing to preserve our local heritage, support of our local businesses, and to provide that place where you can raise your family safely. Danville is the safest community for the past 4 years of any city in California. We focus since the COVID has started is in helping businesses, helping our school district, helping parents through mental health counseling. I'm on the board of directors of Discovery Counseling Center, and we're immersed in all of the San Ramon Valley schools, everyone, both in Danville, San Ramon, Alamo, all of those places. It is right now one of the single biggest problem areas of parents both working at home, trying to find ways to get their kids in front of virtual education and to find that break in their own lives. And it's a big challenge. And our counselors are absolutely overburdened right now, as well as teachers are. But when we look at some of the things that we can immediately touch, since the downturn of our economy in March 17 to the shelter-in-place order, I've been focused on how the town of Danville does business, assisting businesses through our local Shop Danville programs, providing technical assistance to businesses to develop individual marketing plans, group marketing plans, going door to door, providing PPE to those, providing a listening ear to find out what are their challenges, what can we do to try to help and push the limits safely to help get them back in business. And we've succeeded without the influx of national change to develop our micro environment supporting local businesses. And we don't need the failures or the greed of large corporations, but we need to continue to be focused on our local successes along with regional partnerships that really do help Danville. And there are three main points I want to make. One, I've kept Danville debt-free with a balanced budget and significant reserves for 25 years. Prior to that, Danville made national news as being one of the worst run cities. FBI was doing an investigation. The entire senior staff was replaced. It had $22 million in the bank. Now we have $88 million in the bank. Danville is the most cost-effective city in the Tri-Valley area, bar none. And it's not by 10% or 50%, it's by 100 to 300%. And that means we spend less than $600 per resident. And the cities to the north spend 3 times that, cities to the south spend double that. But just as importantly, we have no unfunded liabilities. And that's huge. Between two of the cities, there is $800 million debt. And when you look at their budgets, there's no way to ever pay those off. Danville fortunately took away a pathway to avoid those pitfalls. And because we have so little money, even though we have very high property values, Prop 13 did not treat Danville well. So we had to learn to live within our means. And just as importantly, we are the safest community in Danville because of our investments in community policing, working with our community, working with residents, working with our schools, working with places like Discovery Counseling Center on diversion programs and not sending people to jail, helping our youth, and using technology to help make our community safer without having to hire more police officers. But also as a current business owner of 2 companies for the past 42 years, I do know what it takes to get up every day, work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and make a difference at the same time in your community while doing all of that. And I've worked tirelessly with our chamber, our nonprofits, our local businesses, one-on-one, to make Danville a successful place to do business. But much of my free time is spent in continuing education in ethics and leadership areas, while learning that the best leaders are those who know how to listen and learn. And I also teach ethics to newly elected officials on behalf of the League of California Cities. In addition, I was appointed by the president of the League of Cities to serve on several statewide committees in housing, community economics, transparency and labor relations, transportation, and public works. And I've been a 27-year member of the Danville Area Chamber of Commerce. I earned a bachelor's and master's degrees in architecture and urban design at the University of California, Berkeley. I taught there for 2.5 years. I'm a graduate of San Ramon Valley Leadership, also a graduate of the League of California Cities Mayors Advanced Leadership, and an instructor of leadership San Ramon Valley for over 20 years. And all members of the council for the past few decades have all come through Leadership San Ramon Valley, as well as in City of San Ramon, a great program to build leadership skills and to get people involved in local governance. I work with many of our communities of concern to build permanent relationships, such as APAPA, Kappa, Diablo Black Men's Group, and others to encourage and support their members to run for office and/or serve on public commissions. I received the Community Mentor Award from APAPA, also honorary co-founder with Andy Lee of the Tri-Valley APAPA. I've been a host both in my personal business and in my role as a council member mayor for interns from Kappa and APAPA.
1 minute remaining.
And I've been a longtime member of Rotary. I'd like to thank all of you for helping support Danville. You're also going to see there are 4 of us running. Support all of us. Let the voters decide. I think there's all 4 great choices. I'm proud of maintaining Danville's character and helping be part of that vision. Please visit honorrich.org for news and events around Danville. I ask for your support and also your vote for those of you who live in Danville. Thank you, and I appreciate it. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Affirmative action. We just passed a resolution to support Prop 16. What's your feeling?
I think it's a good idea, but we should recognize for colleges in California, there are 2 groups that are going to be absolutely helped by this, and that's Black and Latino, because they are underrepresented based on the background population. But somebody who has a daughter who went to college, did very well, has 3 degrees. Women outnumber men in colleges in the state of California, all universities and community colleges, by 50%. They will be hurt. In business and all the things that Sean was talking about, absolutely. I'm just concerned about it, but I do support it. It was a mistake that we went away from it. But we can see statistically in colleges, both our Asian communities and women have done very well under the current system. So we need to be prepared to recognize that those groups in colleges, but not in business and stuff, will be hurt by that for a period of time. But I think it's the right thing to do, and particularly with the 2 communities of concern, both African American and Latino, that are wholly underrepresented. So yes, I do support it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Newell.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And the next candidate we're going to hear from is PJ Shelton. She's a newbie running for office, but she's got a considerable resume, and I'm sure she'll tell us about it. PJ.
Thank you so much, Ellis. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everyone. I'm very honored to be here tonight. I'd like to start off by sharing my background very briefly with those of you who may not know me. I have over 30 years of executive business experience in corporate America. I started my career working for a very small company at the time that was destined to fail, and that was FedEx. And I do mean destined to fail. He hired me, Fred Smith hired me as one of his indoor managers, he called us at the time, and he actually had to go to Las Vegas to make payroll to pay us. And look at him now. He's got on his big boy pants and he's living well. I've advanced from FedEx through the entire transportation sector. I've had many, many jobs. I've had management jobs. I've been a vice president of sales. I've been a regional director. As I was interviewing actually for a CEO position of a small transportation company, I was approached by the president of College of Alameda at the time to take a meeting with her to talk about the work that I've done for 30 years in that sector. And the conversation led by Dr. Jackson turned me into an educator, because the state of California had just endorsed career pathways for students K through 16, and they were kicking this whole program off in the community college district. So I became an educator quite by accident, and I have loved every minute of it. As a lifelong learner, I received my bachelor's degree when I was young. I went back to school when I was working in corporate America to get a master's degree as I began to season. When I started working in the education system, I discovered something that really shook me, and that was our educational system is archaic. It's not working for today's students. So I went back to school, and I am graduating with my PhD in managing organizational systems this December. I did that intentionally because, excuse me, everything is a system. Everything has to start with a platform for growth. And I feel that the Danville Town Council has built a wonderful system. Moving forward in this 21st century, right behind COVID, that system is going to have some flaws, and we're going to have to start working on developing another system that's going to work for the community. Why am I running? There are moments in time that really matter, and this is one of them. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, one of my idols, is quoted as saying, "Women belong in all places where decisions are made." I would like to add that that saying is absolutely true, but I'd like to add two additional words. Women of color also belong in many of the places where decisions are made. I'm running for town council because it's time for a different type of action. As an example, I would like to create an equity action plan that would look at demographics on commissions and the town staff, explore improving language accessibility for public meetings and documents, and evaluate the development impact on our community through an equity lens. The lens that I would be looking through would be from one of a person of color, obviously, because of my life experiences. Another quote that I'd like to share with you is from Dr. Martin Luther King. Again, why am I running? He says, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. And as a steward, I will work for the common good of this community. Why should anyone vote for me? Now, when I reached that question, I actually started to laugh because I thought the first thing I should do is go ask my next door neighbor, who always has an opinion or anything on any and everything. But then I thought, I think I can answer for him and probably many of my neighbors on my block. Because when you're voting for me, you're voting for decisions made based on a full view of the multiple lens of the community. When you vote for me, you're voting for social justice, public safety. This is really the new anthem. But let's define, what we need to do is define what is appropriate to the role of a law enforcement officer and fund that adequately. We need to define what is appropriate for a mental health professional, counselor, or public safety officer and fund that appropriately. You would be voting—
1 minute remains.
You would be voting for an agent of change that will listen and have your best interest at heart. So with that said, I'd like to once again say, my name is PJ Shelton, and I would be honored for your support. In reference to the Proposition 16, I just want to say ditto to what Sean said, ditto to what Amelia said. I totally agree with it, and I endorse it fully.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You? Well said.
Time's up. Am I correct, Ron?
Time is up.
Okay. Moving on, our next candidate is a former pharmacist, worked in downtown Danville. His name is David Fong, and he's running for city council. And David, are you ready?
I am ready, Ellis. Thank you.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Thank you, Ellis. And I really want to first acknowledge its Honorable Ellis Goldberg and the Tri-Valley Democratic Club for inviting me to this candidates forum. I'd like to share my background, qualifications, and reason why you should elect me and support my position on the Danville Town Council. My wife and I have lived and raised our family in the town of Danville for over 43 years, and we've benefited for all of the reasons why we originally moved here, besides my job. A safe community to live and raise a family with the best schools, emphasis on preserving open space with parks, hiking trails, and sporting fields, and most importantly, a town culture promoting the economic vitality and growth of its town businesses and offering enrichment events, activities, and programs that promote intellectual and physical growth. Further validation that Danville continues to have a reputation for being one of the most desired towns to live and raise a family is an announcement this past week by a publication that ranked Danville as #1 for quality of life and #7 for the best place to retire in California. To the staff of the town council, the government, business, and most importantly, our community, for your years of hard work, commitment, and dedication. This is a recognition that's well deserved, but well earned as well. And as Neil said earlier, this is not something that happened overnight. This is an investment over time and a commitment to deliver to where we are today. A little bit of background and on my qualifications that sets me apart and qualifies me as one of the best candidates for a seat on the town council. My proven record of accomplishments and experience over the past 43 years, I believe, is the foundation that's going to be required to meet the challenges and deliver success to our business, our community, our schools, and to our town as we emerge from COVID-19. I'm a graduate of UC Berkeley with an economics degree and a doctor of pharmacy degree from UC Med Center in San Francisco. Additionally, I have 44 plus years as a senior executive in leadership positions with functional and fiscal responsibilities and accountabilities for multi-billion-dollar business units within local Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies such as Safeway and Long's drugstores. And more specifically, I oversaw the pharmacy area of our operation. I'll talk a little bit about pharmacy, my role, and most specifically, the trust that we've connected with the community when we're talking about how best to protect their health and welfare. Additionally, I've also served in the public-private sector as a governor-appointed member of the California State Board of Pharmacy, overseeing the safety of Californians on medication use and distribution. I'm currently a commissioner and former chair of the Senior Advisory Commission for the town of Danville, and I am an active member of various academic and healthcare advisory groups and committees addressing healthcare public policy. As a longtime resident and owner in Danville, I'm running for a seat on the council so I can devote my energy and focus to represent and service our community. Harnessing the strengths and assets invested by the town over the many decades, and yet to offer a fresh perspective that builds on the foundation of what has been successful. As we emerge from COVID-19, we as the council must continue to be smart and make wise decisions as we address how best to grow the economic needs of small business, because after all, your success is our success. Continue to build on the strength of the partnership between Danville Police and the community to protect the safety of our children, families, businesses, senior citizens, veterans, and others. To many in the community, that's why we moved to Danville. To ensure the long-term fiscal sustainability of balanced budgets, no unfunded liabilities, and strong reserves. Over the years, we simply don't waste money. And then finally, to continue to invest and protect our very special town, its small town culture, enrichment events and activities, and most importantly, 43% of our open space for us and future generations to enjoy. Now, I acknowledge and recognize that COVID-19 is changing the way we live, work, and play, and we need experienced council members ready to deliver in the best interest of the community. I have the endorsements of many folks, but those endorsements weren't just lists of people. I've earned their confidence and their support, and they're represented by government. I have currently 3 of the 5 council members who are endorsing me. I have representation from the school board. I have both big and small business owners, as well as the community supporting my position. And most importantly, as we take a look at overall the community that I would represent, I believe that I have good representation of folks that have a really good pulse that I would listen to when it comes to how best to represent and serve our community. As we take a look at my closing comments, I just want to share that there are a number of very qualified candidates. And what sets me apart from the other candidates, number one, trust. I understand the importance of earning your trust. When the state of California entrusted me with the responsibility 40 years ago as a pharmacist, and then as a leader advocating and representing thousands of Longs and Safeway pharmacists, including the town of Danville, my team and I have spent every day of our lives practicing and earning your trust as the most accessible and available professional to serve your healthcare needs. 2, I am
1 minute remaining.
I am Danville. 43 years I have and will continue to represent all of Danville. I am government, serving local and state governments in leadership positions. I am business, having over 40 years in positions of business. I am schools, navigating students, my students as parents with kids, and actively participating in their success at every level of their educational and social growth. And I am community, 43 years as a 30-year-old, a 50-year-old, and now a 72-year-old. And I believe that that is an important reason why it's not why I am here today as much as what I need to do to invest in our future going forward. I'm seeking your support to elect me as your council, and together we can continue to build upon the foundation of our town's success, and together build an even stronger Danville and solidify a reputation for being one of the most desired communities to live and raise a family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. The question on Prop 16, which I've asked the other candidates, affirmative action. Where do you stand on that?
I absolutely support returning to affirmative action. And as Newell mentioned earlier, there's going to be some initial fallout. Some people may unintentionally be hurt, but in the long term, this is the right proposition for us to support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next one is the youngest candidate. I should tell you that Sharon and I, Rick Adler and Brody Hilp, in the capacity of the San Ramon Valley Dems, interviewed all 4 of these candidates and spoke at considerable length with them, both during those interviews, and I spoke to them on the phone after that. And the young man I'm about to introduce impressed us a great deal. Here's Turner Stanton, and he's running for city council for one of the 3 open seats. Turner.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, everybody, for allowing us to be here tonight.
What's that Mr. President stuff to tell us?
And Ellis, I didn't realize this was also your last year, so thank you for all of your service. I know we spoke about how much you've done for the club, so I know I'm sure that is echoed throughout all the members. So Ellis, to you and your wife, thank you for everything you've done. So as mentioned, my name's Turner Stanton, and I'm excited to be running for the Danville Town Council this November. Ultimately, I'm running for this race because it's really a town unlike any other in the world when you look at it. It's got that small town atmosphere and outstanding quality of life printed on every brochure the town produces. And I'm in this race because I grew up in Danville and I love this town. I think that's a common thing amongst all candidates running for this race is we all love Danville. And growing up here, I have a unique perspective. I started at John Baldwin Elementary, then Charlotte Middle School, and then proudly graduated from San Ramon Valley High School in the class of 2013. So I might be a younger candidate, but I've gained invaluable community experience over the last decade that translates to this job that is desperately needed as we experience these dark times of COVID, political uncertainty. It's just been such a dark year. We need leadership at all levels, from the town of Danville all the way up, who are truly invested in listening and working for all members of our community. So that's what I want to bring to the Danville Town Council. Being that younger candidate, I have those unique experiences. Being a student in our San Ramon Valley Unified School District, I know the issues our students face, and I am still in touch with countless high schoolers and middle schoolers. So I know the devastating impact this current virtual world's having. I talk with students and they are depressed. So I am very concerned about the mental health of this community moving forward. So I want to get in this race, roll up my sleeves, and be that voice for all people, from younger citizens to new families moving into town to our older citizens. I think a unique thing that makes me who I am boils down to my family. My dad, he worked 2 jobs and put himself through college. He's now teaching at the University of California, Berkeley. And before that, he worked in the private sector. So he's given me kind of that financial baseline and encouraged me to pursue a career in corporate America. Whereas my mom, she was the advocate. She was the one taking the 3 children to school, making sure that her voice was equally heard at different school board meetings, and saying, you know, she had an equal right to share her opinion and it could not be discounted. So she's been the motivator for me to actually go for it, this race. And also my grandmother's a key component of who I am today. She lived in San Leandro for several decades, and it had always been her dream to one day move to Danville. And when she moved here to Danville, those were some of the best days. We would pick her up, go to coffee at Valley Medleys, and have a great day out walking amongst the town. And those are the special moments in Danville where the young and the young at heart can live together, that I want to get on this town council and make sure that is here for the next generation. We have done incredible, the town council, the town staff, to get us to the Danville we all know and love today. And I've been doing my homework on Danville government. I served 3 years in the Parks and Leisure Services Commission. I even was going after school to our economic development department my senior year of high school, making sure our businesses were all accounted for on our website, and we looked into launching a Danville gift card. I attended a town budget study session. So I've done over a decade of transferable leadership skills that will help me be ready to start as a council member on day one. I've studied our town budget, knowing we're just over 30 million, and knowing the impacts of COVID are projected to last at least 3 years. So we need that new leadership with that new mindset that knows what it took to get us to the Danville we all know and love today, but who's not afraid to say, these are unprecedented times and business as usual is not going to cut it anymore. So I want to bring that perspective onto the town council. Professionally, I worked at a top 4 international professional services firm in their audit practice. So doing financial statement reviews, making sure I'm ready to oversee our town budget and continue forward with our fiscal responsibility. But also, I currently work for that same firm, but in the global consulting space, focused on reimagining the customer experience through technology, which is exactly what we need to be doing with our businesses to make sure they are not left behind during this COVID pandemic, and that they are here not only to recover, but thrive once we get through this. A big question Ellis had sent out to us is why voters should trust us with what could be life or death situations. And COVID has shown how important local government is, because it is no longer just about balanced budgets and community representation. There are life or death decisions being made locally. So a reason I feel confident in making those decisions was April 21st, I wrote to the town council in the midst of COVID and said we needed to be proactive and make sure our businesses were getting ready to be able to safely reopen. I was afraid at the time that if we didn't help our businesses secure the necessary PPE, draft their reopening plans, and make sure they were ready on day one as safely as possible, we were going to have businesses open that weren't ready and potentially exposure. So that was a proactive effort immediately. And another reason where I prioritized health and safety is my current campaign. Before we did our first live event, which was the farmers market, I think over a month ago now, We have a 9-point health and safety check I require myself and all my campaign staff members to go through, because in this election, I would rather lose than have something disastrous happen on the health front. So we are that proactive campaign, and I am that proactive candidate who wants to bring that to the Danville Town Council and would make sure safety is never sacrificed for that. What motivated me to run for public office? It goes back to my 8th grade year. I was our ASB president, and we had a dangerous crosswalk. And it might sound kind of funny now as I'm 25 running for the office, but I had reached out to the town of Danville and said, I'm the ASB president for this middle school. We have a dangerous sidewalk. What can we do? I was blown away as an 8th grader because our town mayor actually showed up and met with me. And we walked through some different options, and we actually got crossing guards for that crosswalk. It was that moment that lit a spark within me and showed how important local government and local leadership is for all generations of this community. So I want to jump in, hit the ground running on day one, and be that voice for all residents of all backgrounds, and make sure that Danville we all know and love, and that we've worked so hard to get to where we currently are, is here for that next generation. I'm ready to work with all businesses.
Timing comment, 1 minute left.
Thank you for the comment. Work with all of our businesses, but also work across the different cities. A big aspect of being a council member is being able to have that positive working relationship. So I'm ready to answer that phone call or make that phone call to a local city that borders us or one further up or down the freeway. Because there are several examples of when we come together for different funding requests or proposals, not just as one city, but as multiple cities, our chances of getting that funding and making our communities better are stronger. So I'm ready to also be that liaison for Danville for those key funding requirements. So I'm Turner Stanton. I am energized to be in this race, and I respectfully ask that you vote Turner Stanton for the Danville Town Council. All of our platform, a bunch of media of us being safely out and about in our masks is on my website above here, www.stantonfordanville.com. And we're on all of our social media platforms. So after this call, if you want to engage with us further, I would love to meet you for a Zoom call or phone call. So thank you very much, Ellis, and everybody again for the time. And I respectfully request your endorsement and would hope to have your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quickly, Prop 16 question.
Prop 16, yes. So during my time in college, I went to UC Riverside after going to Center Moan. I was a business major, political science minor. UC Riverside is known for being the #1 ranked university for diversity. And I was actually the president during my time of college, a 2-term president for ALPHA, which was the Association of Latino Professionals for America. So I had very hands-on experience and a great wake-up call of major issues going on. So I believe we need to make sure all groups of people are equally represented. So efforts to make sure our community are represented and given equal chances, I fully support through those firsthand experiences.
Nice presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're ready to move on to the city of Dublin. In Dublin, we have a mayor's race, and we've already endorsed Melissa Hernandez, who I know was at this meeting, at least she was a few minutes ago. And the candidate opposing her is Arun Goel. Arun, are you here?
Yes, I am, Ellis.
Okay.
You guys hear me?
Go for it, Arun.
Right. First of all, thank you, Ellis, for having a really nice conversation just over a month ago and allowing me this opportunity to speak with everyone and allow them to understand my role, my position, and the impacts I've brought positively to the Bay Area and the nation. First of all, to give you some highlights, a little bit about my background. I'm a civil engineer with a bachelor's and a master's in transportation, construction management, hydrology, and hydraulics. And that doesn't come lightly. My dad was a 31 years serving for Alameda County Public Works Agency as a structural engineer. And I followed his footsteps and gratification of having served the community. I worked at Alameda County Public Works right from the days of being an intern because of all the work my dad had done and the delight of delivering true projects that everyone gets to enjoy. Having served in professional capacity, I've worked on flood control facilities, highways, airports, transit projects, all the way throughout the nation, and a lot of it right here in the Bay Area, to the tune of 400 billion with a B throughout the nation. Here in the Bay Area, I've helped work on projects like 580 Express Lanes, 680 Express Lanes, the 238 widening, 92 880, BART to Oakland Airport, BART to Fremont, BART to San Francisco International Airport, and the International Terminal, People Mover, and the parking garage, just to highlight a few that I actually impact everyone's daily lives. With that success and enjoyment of delivering infrastructure, I worked at Alameda County Transportation Commission, having helped pass Measure BB in 2014, working for their Political Action Committee, the half-a-cent sales tax for self-help counties in the state of California, garnering over 81%. For those of you in Alameda County, that pays for the road improvements. Dublin has one of the best paving indexes as a result of this funding source. In addition, I helped work on safe routes to school throughout Alameda County, making it the largest program in the nation, keeping our children safe, teaching them alternative ways to commute to school, walking, biking, and doing it safely. I also helped lead the paratransit program at Alameda County Transportation Commission, focused on our seniors and those with disabilities, making sure that everyone had equal access to transit and had an opportunity to enjoy it. Here at the city, I served on our HOA, and I still do for the past 15 years, delivering unique, innovative projects like a solar shade project, getting recognized by the State Assembly. From there, I joined onto the Planning Commission in 2012 and served for 4 years, and I was elected to City Council in 2016. I share that with you as my commitment to the citizens of Dublin, to the Tri-Valley, to Alameda County, and the Bay Area at large. My platform is focused on working on economic development and recovery, but not just doing that by the saying of words, but by doing it by serving and doing the right things to lead innovation as we pursue our return from COVID-19, helping those businesses that are suffering. So for instance, there was a business here in the city of Dublin. He had a restaurant business that plunged from 100% profit of where he wanted to be prior to COVID to just under 30% post-COVID. And I sat down with him and I said, let's think of unique ways to help you. You're suffering. And ultimately, he used the underutilized time in his kitchen to now provide great meals delivered. That's the name of the business. And using great plates services that the governor brought here to the state. I use that as an example of a hands-on experience. I'm in real estate. I have businesses of my own as well. And I share the experiences and lenses that many businesses have. I understand and appreciate it. But we also need to do more. We need to bring big jobs, big businesses to the city of Dublin. One that allows us to transform into a new generation of workforce, including helping our laborers understand what green technology and green labor means. It is going beyond the status quo and focusing on what takes a long-term vision to be appreciated. We need to address our housing growth. We're one of the largest growing, and we've done it well, okay? But have we addressed the regional housing necessities? For instance, the most recent regional housing needs assessment shows that Dublin is at 3.3% of its very low income goal, 8.7% of its low income goal, 7.3% of its moderate goal, and 51.5% of its above moderate income goal. Seems to me we missed a complete band in our regional delivery. In order to really address the housing crisis, we need to focus on true delivery of that. And with that, I've planned to push back on market rate housing and focus on affordable housing and focus on housing for seniors. Seniors who have spent their entire life living in Dublin, that want to maintain their roots here in Dublin. I know I'm quickly approaching retirement life, and I'd love to have an opportunity to make this my last stop. Born and brought up in Hayward, California, This is the furthest east of Alameda County I've ever lived, Dublin, for 17 years, bringing up 3 beautiful daughters with my wife, one who recently graduated and is about to leave for Davis on Sunday. And I'm excited to see her blossom and grow. But when, as a parent, they want to return back home, they want to have their jobs and choices here, and we need to make sure that that infrastructure exists. As I said, as a transportation professional, we have a lot of work to do. We can look towards the future and focus on what could make Dublin a smart city. We need to bring technologies into our infrastructure that allows us to benefit while also focusing on our environment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Simply said, we need to put fiber optics on our major corridor, for instance, Dublin Boulevard, one that allows it to integrate. My profession—
Arun, 1 minute remaining.
As an ITS expert, I plan to bring technology that allows vehicle-to-vehicle communications, vehicle-to-infrastructure communications, that allows us to dynamically use our transportation management center. Just as I did 4 years ago, I'm keeping my campaign completely people-powered. I'm not backed by an engine. That means I get to hold an unbiased look and an advantage point for the citizens of Dublin. I hope to earn your guys' support today by the Tri-Valley Dems, and I'm backed by various elected officials throughout the Bay Area, from Assemblymember Ash Kalra to Assemblymember Kansan Chu, down to right here in the Tri-Valley, Julie Testa, Carla Brown, and many more throughout the Bay Area. It's a diversified portfolio, and I urge you to look at my background at www.arunformayor.com. Learn more about me. I'm happy to have a conversation, and I'm always willing to engage. It's about our future, our dream, and the youth's future. My campaign is predominantly run by youth. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to any questions.
Thank you, Arun.
Thank you.
And the Prop 16 question.
Sure. Having been a graduate in 1991 in Hayward, California, growing up with predominantly Black, African Americans, and Latinx, I fully support Prop 16. We need to provide opportunities for change and opportunities for education. And those of us that feel benefited from a financial perspective, we have choices and options, but we need to make sure that everyone has a fair shot and a fair chance to become a professional leading our economy to success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arun.
Well done.
The next up is for school board in Dublin. Area 1, as those of you who live in Dublin and maybe others know, Dublin has been divided into districts for school elections. And this one, Area 1, we've already endorsed Kristen Pelham at our last meeting. And running against her is Dr. Dawn Nwamu. And I hope I haven't butchered your name. Dawn, are you here? I hope.
I guess not.
Dawn, are you here?
I'm here. I was muted.
Oh, okay.
Yes, my last name is Wamwo. The N is silent. Nice.
Okay, pardon me, but as anybody who can see the sign behind you, it's not that easy to pronounce. Go for it, Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Dr. Dawn Wamwo, and I'm running for Dublin School Board to lead transformative change. I'm a mother of 2 amazing sons raised in Union City by a mother who was an educator for 29 years and a sister who followed as an educator and administrator as well. I took a different path in my educational pursuits to become a physician and healthcare advocate with the desire to heal others. My path included 27 years of education. This experience gave me exposure to education on many levels, which provided great insight into what works and, equally important, what doesn't. Given that I come from a family of educators, I have spent a lot of time with each of them debating and brainstorming about issues with schools and potential solutions. I value and respect teachers. They are the fabric of America. I frequently engage and contribute to teachers and administrators as part of my active engagement in my 2 sons' education and school affairs. I was raised to serve. During my 16 years as a doctor, I have not just cared for hundreds of thousands of patients, but I have listened to my patients and their genuine concerns about issues stemming from the educational system. They worry about their children and the uncertain times of the pandemic, issues surrounding social justice and equity, and how to navigate education technology. As a physician who cares deeply for people, it's natural that the overall health and wellness of our community is paramount to me. This is another calling of service to my community. I will bring a broader and more diverse perspective with an unbiased opinion. As a member of the community and as a person that came from humble beginnings, I care about all students being given every possible opportunity to excel. If I was not afforded those opportunities, I would not have reached my full potential and fulfilled my dreams. I bring that same passion and advocacy of fighting for my patients to fight for equitable educational outcomes, to protect the health of our community during this pandemic, to lead effective change for diversity and inclusion, and advocate for marginalized students. All students should be afforded equal opportunities regardless of race, socioeconomic status, and disabilities, including physical and learning disabilities. When asked why voters should support me, I want to share that many of my experiences in the medical profession, the challenges, the workflows, the team collaboration, all parallel the educational system. The role of trustee is governance with 4 key objectives, including hiring and evaluate the superintendent, oversee and approve budget, oversee facilities, and approve curriculum. Doing this role successfully requires problem solving, strong decision making, commitment to progress, and passion for the education of our youth and their future. In today's world, it is critical to have a governance team that is diverse and has a variety of skills that combined can achieve the above goals. My leadership experiences as a chief resident, chief of breast imaging, board member of 2 distinct budgeting boards, assistant professor, board member on the Commission on Cancer, steering committee member of Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity at Kaiser, on the Alameda and Contra Costa County Medical Association Health Equity Task Force, mother of 2 children, and a resident of this community, have prepared me for being a well-qualified candidate for assuming this role and position. I have demonstrated success with diverse recruitment, unifying departments to change how they deliver care from a divided approach to a larger unified team approach, managing million-dollar budgets and leading or participating with teams to meet goals that can impact the wellness of tens of thousands of families in our community. I have effectively redeveloped the way we deliver care to breast imaging patients and reduced the number of visits from 6 to 2 for a woman to find out if she has cancer. I took us from the bottom of Northern California, number 16 out of 16, to number 1, and consistently in the top 3 in performance. I helped our staff take accountability for the care experience we provide our patients by changing how they operate it in 2 separate silos, as a mammogram department and an ultrasound department, to operating as 1 department, serving 1 breast imaging patient. I believe my experience and leadership skills in the field of medicine parallels the leadership skills needed in the educational system that will help the Dublin Unified School District stabilize, unify, and thrive. When asked why voters should trust me with what might be life or death decisions, I would share that as a physician that received training from prestigious academic centers, including the University of Michigan, UCLA, and Stanford, my ability to matriculate into these schools and successfully complete training speaks to my ability to perform under pressure, making life and death decisions, especially during the intense 10 years of medical training. Additionally, I'm a general radiologist and a breast imaging specialist. It is my role to diagnose disease in hundreds of patients daily, to make critical decisions regarding the need for emergent interventions or follow-up care, to decide if something looks cancerous and a biopsy is needed, or if we wait on biopsy and follow something closely. I make life-altering decisions on a daily basis, and I am humbled and grateful to say that in all of my years of practice so far, knock on wood, I have never been sued and I have had 0 issues with my medical license, which I think speaks to my capability to carry out the ability to make difficult decisions well. My work in the medical field translates to the educational realm. The way that I make difficult decisions at work based on objective information is the same way that decisions need to be made in the educational system, especially during this pandemic. Furthermore, the fact that I've worked through the pandemic, seeing patients from the moment we entered shelter in place, I know that the information in the media is not always directly correlating to the information that we have in the medical setting. Being immersed in the medical field gives me firsthand insight for how execution of tasks should be conducted. I have always been a doer. When I see
Dawn,
opportunities
1 minute
for
remains.
improvement, I am the one who identifies the problems, assesses the situation using some form of process improvement analysis, and then presents solutions. I don't stop there. I like to be hands-on, engaged in being a part of the solution to see things all the way through to success. I ask that you not pull me from consent, because if you do, you take away the opportunity for a woman of color and true diversity on this school board. Dublin is changing, and the board should reflect the city members to allow diversity in thought, diversity in experience, and diversity in lenses. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. And in regards to Prop 16, there are people opposing this bill for fear of being discriminated against. This bill is not to advocate for discrimination. Anti-discrimination laws remain in place. This bill is to ensure that oppressed groups are given a fair shot at opportunities in a system that is built against them. The COVID-19 pandemic has intensified public attention to the unequal vulnerability of Indigenous and Black people and amplified other racialized inequalities inherent in society. In the healthcare realm, there are mountains of research for decades cataloging the complex and widespread effects of racism. Just to name a few, Black people are more likely than white people to die from cancer. They are more likely to suffer from chronic pain, diabetes, and depression. Black children report higher levels of stress. Black mothers are more likely to die in childbirth. These effects stretch back centuries and take different forms, from discriminatory diagnostics to institutional barriers to care, all of which affect a person's health. Improvements have been made, but many disparities persist unchecked. The disproportionate death rate of people of color from COVID has exploited this persistent disparity and has led to it being declared a public health crisis in June 2020. Systemic racism also persists in the form of redlining to prevent minority groups from getting business loans or homes in certain pre-designated areas, the school to prison pipeline for children of color, and the ceiling and upward mobility into leadership roles in the workplace or a seat at the boardroom table. This is why affirmative action needs to be reinstated to ensure that everyone has a fair shot and that the systems that have been clearly proven to put certain groups of people at a disadvantage are dismantled. The true test if someone supports equality is if they are willing to sacrifice to ensure equity for all. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you.
Wow, that was
Thank you.
great. Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Dawn.
Thank you, Dr. Dawn.
Thank you.
Next, we have two people running for school board in Area 4. One we endorsed the last time around, the last time that she ran, and the other one is a newbie. We endorsed Gabby Blackman, and she'll speak first, and then Michael Itsumi. But first, I have a question for Bob or Michael Itsumi. I noticed that Michael's wife is here, and he's a member of the club. I'm wondering, do they have a family membership?
Yes, I think they have 2 memberships, so they're good.
Okay, so added to our list of members eligible to vote is Catherine. Did I catch that right? Okay, so anyway, given that, Gabby Blackman, you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, Ellis.
Okay, go for it, Gabby.
Hi, thank you everyone for the opportunity to meet with you tonight. I'm Gabby Blackman, and I'm a current trustee for Area 4. I'm a proud member of our community for 15 years, and I'm running for re-election, and thank you for the opportunity to come to you tonight and ask for your support and endorsement once again. Area 4 is a minority majority community of predominantly young families with children. Many are immigrants or first-generation US citizens. All are working to give their kids a better life. And although the school board is supposed to represent all Dubliners, my neighbors, families, and friends have had to consistently advocate for the needs of their children, often falling on deaf ears. The committee has had to fight to have the right to elect their representative, overturning a politically charged appointment to elect their trustee. They were successful. They won that election, which speaks volumes of my expansive support in the community and the positive effect of this club's influence, as having to solidify support for communities that are often disenfranchised by a controlling, unfortunately, white majority. I've served as trustee for a little over 16 months, and in that time, I've brought much needed change and action. What took the former board years not to do, we are doing right now. We have funded and are about to break ground on a new high school for 2,500 students in East Dublin, Emerald High School. It's for students who, in a non-COVID year, currently would commute 1.5 hours each day to and from school. These are predominantly minority students, and they deserve equity, and we're going to provide them with a school so that they have a place to go to school and do not have to commute so far. We have balanced our budget and fully funded modernizing our older schools. We've installed air quality sensors across our district so that when smoke fills from fires into our valley, we can help keep our students, our teachers, and families safe. We passed a brand new bond measure with specific priority language in it for projects. The former board said, no, we can't do it. The new board said, yes, you can. And we gave our community guarantees that they asked for and that they deserve. It just takes a strong-willed Democratic voice on the board to get these things done. We hired the esteemed Dr. Morrell to lead our district through this turbulent time. He's a terrific hire. In 2 months, he and his staff have recalibrated over 100 years of education and built student-centric distance learning program with intervention built in to help students right then and there get the help they need. We've embedded social emotional learning into our online school day and provided our teachers with extra training they need to successfully navigate e-learning. We've reimagined community engagement, brought parents in as part of our new educational team. Radio communication has really helped to build awareness and stronger ties in our community. We have greater transparency. In January, I messaged the superintendent to be ready to close schools and go online. We got ahead of this pandemic, and because of it, we were able to order more Chromebooks and hotspots to distribute to our students to ensure that they had the tools they needed to succeed. Dublin has made incredible progress in only 14 months, and it is because they have a trustee with academic experience and public process expertise who offers real-world solutions. For over 10 years, I've volunteered in classrooms in the district, helping teachers and students. I've marched in the streets with our community to fight for our schools. With 3 children in our schools, I take the board position and the responsibility entails very, very seriously. Experience matters. Governance, politics is chock full of people who feel qualified. Just look at our White House. We need to elect representatives who have direct, deep experience and broad expertise specific to the challenges our schools are facing. I am a graduate of Cornell University with over 20 years of experience in architectural industry. I specialize in educational planning, programming, and design. I've had the pleasure to work with educational institutions across the United States to help creative, award-winning solutions and elevate the quality of learning for students. I've worked at Chabot College, just to name one of them nearby. I've also worked on medical facilities and NIH cancer centers, gaining experience in keeping patients, some of them the most vulnerable, safe. Imagine a trustee with medical planning experience in the time of COVID-19. This enabled me to see the threat when others on the board did not. And in January, I pushed leadership to prepare to close schools and go online. In addition, I've worked at the federal level in planning and terrorism when it came to our doors and sought to attack US facilities. And I collaborated with FBI local enforcement to prevent an incident from happening. So in today's world, when campuses are threatened, we have a trustee who knows how to protect our students. Harnessing all of this, I brought my extensive public process and management expertise in serving as a strong voice on the Dublin School Board. I am passionate about education and the ability it has to change lives. My grandmother was a teacher, and I married into a family of generations of California teachers. And I admire them for the work they do in shaping young minds. I've been a guest professor and a guest critic at several universities and lectured nationally on advancing education. As a trustee, I strive to ensure campuses are safe, that we meet Dublin's growth needs, and most importantly, that our education system excels in preparing students for success in the global economy. Dublin's children need a trustee who advocates for them, only them, who does the hard work necessary to continue to provide safe schools and equitable experiences, who is elevating the level and quality of education for each and every child. I am that trustee. I am passionate about bringing democratic values to our community. And in addition, for the last year, I've been directly involved in assisting Vinnie Bacon grow his presence in the Tri-Valley, and have introduced him to Dublin voters before the new year, helping him broaden his reach here and in Livermore so that we can elect him to county supervisor. We were successful in March because of this effort, and we are continuing to bring more Area 4 voters in to support Vinnie and to help expand Democratic presence in East Dublin. Vinnie and I have much in common and will make great progress in working together on issues in our community. I have his support, and he has endorsed me for school board. Thank you for having me here tonight. I am grateful for this opportunity for the Tri-Valley Democratic Club to once again show that you hear the residents in Area 4 and you support them, their children, and endorse me, the candidate they fought so hard to elect. I'm a unique trustee with unique background and experience at a unique time and place, truly unprecedented, here to help our students live, learn, and thrive. As Democrats, we just voted to support Prop 16. We need to live up to democratic values we hold so dear and support this community of color, Area 4, and the candidate they have asked to run and represent them. Anything else will divide our city further, creating lasting damage. We worked so hard and made such great strides in bringing Area 4's voice to the board. I pledge to continue.
1 minute remaining.
I pledge to continue the great progress we started last year, delivering on the campaign promises I made to help all of Dublin students. I'd be honored to have your support again, your endorsement for re-election. Thank you.
I believe you've answered our Prop 16 question already.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing that. Thank you very much. And now our last candidate of the evening, Michael Utsumi.
Yes, good evening, Alice. Thank you very much. And I guess I get to bat cleanup tonight. I want to thank the Tri-Valley Democratic Club for putting on this forum. I have to tell you, it's been very impressive. It's a very impressive slate of candidates, but I'm here to share my story. So it is true, I'm competing for the Dublin Unified School District Trustee Area 4. So the first question on the list was why? So I feel as if I'm running for office for many reasons, but in my heart of hearts, I believe that elections are about choices and contrasts. And as Dublin continues to be the fastest growing city in Northern California, DUSD needs to support and accommodate a whole new generation of students that will populate our schools, both existing and those to be built. And for that reason, I believe it would be advantageous to elect a trustee that has literally invested the past 15 years with time, energy, and enthusiasm to help foster the success of all students in the district. So tell us about yourself. I would say that it's a package deal. It's our family. Our family has not been passive. We are doers. I have had the benefit of serving on leadership, 10 consecutive years as either a member or chairperson of a school site council at 3 different schools. I volunteered hundreds of hours in the classroom and at fundraising events. But we're really fortunate here in Dublin that we're a high-achieving school district. We have California Distinguished Schools, and our graduates matriculate to some of the finest institutions in the country. But the part that I'm really most proud of is that I'm a champion for all students. So we must possess the same sensitivity and urgency for students that are falling into an achievement gap, that are English language learners, or that may possess a learning disability. These are our students as well. And we must acknowledge that the definition of greatness in a school district is when we all meet our destination. Life and death trust during the pandemic, I believe in science. I'm not an epidemiologist, but my philosophy on this topic is formed by trusting the data, following best practices, and respecting the virus. Unfortunately, we have a family friend in San Francisco that passed away due to complications from COVID-19 in June. It is not a hoax. It is real. So while the governor and Alameda County will supersede our authority on reopening, I would be willing to be a voice for our community. But the successful reopening of schools, whether it's through a hybrid model or in person with restrictions or without, is really has got to be fortified with the availability of testing and contact tracing. Personally, factors and my motives to run. From the moment I had an opportunity to vote, when growing up in San Francisco, I proudly registered as a Democrat. Our family operated a full-service bakery that served both Chinatown and Pacific Heights. And as a small business owner, it was a small shop, but we were a union shop with the retail clerks union. I'm an advocate for collaboration and respectful dialogue. I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to learn, and I would do it with humility. Running for office, in my mind, is just another act of public service, which I believe is to be vital for the sustenance of a healthy community. But make no mistake about it, there are very exciting and great times ahead for this district, up to and including what Ms. Blackman referred to as Emerald High School, a new high school which we've desperately needed for years. In addition to a rebuild that's occurring at both Frederickson Elementary School as well as Murray, and also the potential for us to really start getting serious about building another middle school in this town. But it's an opportunity for me to kind of move from service and activism into action that will be leading to a lasting legacy, one that we can really be proud of. So on the position of Prop 16, I find a small bit of irony here that my daughter is a rising senior at UC Davis. And of course, that's where it all began with the Alan Bakke case that forced his admission. So what I know about underrepresented groups, admission and graduation from college could be a true game changer. It could have positive effects for a family that could last generations. And it opens up possibilities in career that just may not be attainable without a degree. So 20 years ago, roughly when Prop 209 was passed, underrepresented groups and their enrollment numbers were really not where they needed to be. And unfortunately, in the subsequent 20 years, that trend line continues to decline. So regardless of party affiliation, I believe that society wants equal opportunity. So I am in support of Prop 16. What I want to do in the time that I have remaining is I would recommend, because 8 minutes is not a ton of time, but if you want to get into a little bit more specificity about what my campaign is about, I'd recommend that you go to michaelutsimi.com. But I'll share some of the planks on my platform, which I feel are very important, and there are 5. So clearly, number 1 is I'm obsessed almost with the health and safety and physical and emotional well-being of not only our students, but also our staff. And we'll return when the science tells us we can do this in a very safe manner. The district needs to be fiscally responsible and ensure that our new facilities remain on track, as well as maintaining our legacy sites. I'd also like to see us enhance transparency and communication. So in English, all I'm saying is that it's just to help the community better understand the district's priorities and also find different vehicles for communicating financial information, whether it's direct by email or a dedicated page on the district website. I doubt many parents really have the interest or the time to devote 3 hours to a twice-a-month board meeting. So we actually probably should be doing a better job of communicating, and we've got the talent in-house to do it. Technology and continued learning. Since we are now in this environment of distance learning, I want to make sure we cement a commitment to continuous learning and continuous improvement of the technology that we have. And if our district is satisfied with Canvas and Zoom, then let's just get better at it. That's why golfers go to the driving range. You want to get better. If there's an alternative or better technology platform or solution that another district is using, I would be open-minded to looking at that technology. And finally, the 2020 census is just going to yield what we already knew. And Dublin is an incredibly diverse town. However, that doesn't necessarily mean equates to the fact that we're an inclusive town. So I would love to see our district lead the charge.
By 1 minute remaining.
Thank you very much. I would love to see our district lead the charge and by offering diversity and inclusion training for administration and staff, and make sure also that we have an equitable learning experience for all of our students. My understanding is that in March, the district attempted to get something off the ground to address inclusion, and 10 days later, the shelter-in-place went into place. So I'd like to resurrect that for sure. In closing, I would like to kindly ask for your support, your endorsement, and your vote. In terms of endorsements, I can share with you at this stage that I have received endorsement from the Alameda County Democrats, as well as the Asian Pacific American Democratic Caucus. So get out and vote, and thank you again for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
You bet, thank you.
Thank you.
Patient. I guess his time is up. So now is the time that I ask if any of the members would like to pull somebody who has spoken today off of the consent calendar and vote on them separately. That person pulling the candidate will be given 2 minutes to say why they pulled the candidate, and the candidate will in turn be given 2 minutes to rebuttal the reason that they were pulled from the consent calendar. And then I'll take no more than 30-second comments from the other attendees and members who might have something to say about that specific candidate. And then we will vote. So at this point, is there anybody who would like to pull a candidate?
I would.
Yes.
This is Amy.
Okay, Amy Miller.
Yeah.
First one, and then Van Rainey, second one. And
I'd like to pull a candidate, Alice.
There?
This is Sean. I'd like to pull a candidate.
Okay, so Sean, Amy, Van Rainey, and then Sean. Is there anybody else who is going to pull a candidate? Okay, Amy Miller.
Okay, I would like to pull Gabrielle Blackman, and I have a few specific reasons why. I've served on the school board with Gabby for the last 16 months, as she noted, and there's been a few things that have me concerned about her being at the dais and being in such an important role. I'm going to just give some specific examples. First and foremost, she voted against a ratified agreement with our teachers union, ruining the board's credibility. It's never happened, ever. She opposed our bond measure H in 2016, which is funding the entire first phase of the new high school, which she continues to take credit for it coming to fruition. It wouldn't be happening if that bond measure didn't pass. She opposed spending already allocated funds on some of our older schools, including Dublin Elementary, just based on principle and whatever reason she had that she thought it should have been done earlier, but it was still an unsafe environment. We had allocated funds. She voted no until she was pressured to vote yes. She received multiple invitations by a staff member who was starting up an equity committee, a district-wide equity committee. She and another trustee were invited. The other trustee attended and declined to become a part of this equity committee. Gabby Blackman never responded. This came to my attention because we recently passed a resolution on equity, and I received a phone call of someone who was very upset and didn't understand why she wouldn't want to even meet and have this conversation about district-wide equity. And the last thing, really, that's kind of a little thing, but it was really alerted me, was we were at a candidate supervisor forum for the county supervisor, and she got an opportunity to ask a question. She came in late, so she didn't realize her question had actually already been asked, but she asked a question about the environment. It was her first opportunity as a trustee to get up there to our candidates who are running for county supervisor and represent the school board and the district and the students that she served. And she passed that up for her own interests. And so what this does for me is makes me question her integrity and who she serves. It seems like she really does focus on her own interests and not what's in the best interests of the students or the districts that she serves. I've been on the school board for 10 years. I've served with a lot of people who I don't agree with or I'm on opposite sides of the fence with, and I've never, ever felt this way. It was very hard for me to pull this, but I thought that it was important that people should know. And in terms of the election that she was elected to, it only required 75 signatures to turn over the appointment of the person that was appointed by the board. And she, I think, won her election with something like 400 votes. So it's, you know, there's a lot more to be said in terms of what she's sharing as her accomplishment since she's been on the board. You know, not giving credit where it's due, I think also shows a level of integrity. So that is why I do not think Gabrielle Blackman deserves the endorsement of this club or any club.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Gabby, your rebuttal, please.
Amy, I know this is personal for you, and I feel sorry that you feel this way, but I have to correct a couple things. For example, we as trustees are required to approve a budget that is within the limits of our fiduciary responsibility to ensure that we are not spending money we do not have coming in. The TA was a really good offer, but in the midst of that offer, the state pulled and reduced funding to schools. We had a responsibility, which you ignored, to actually not approve a TA that was going to require us to spend more money than we actually had. In the next convening weeks, we had the state actually reevaluate and find funding and authorize the ability for the district and others to actually go back to their budgets and approve them. And we immediately met and we approved the budget, but we approved it only because the state had refunded that money and given us the ability to actually approve the budget, approve the TA. We couldn't do so before, so don't try and make this up. Dublin Elementary, you were there in March of 2019 when you and Megan Rouse with Dan Cunningham voted to increase by 100% the cost of 2 modernizations to avoid the projects going over budget. They're now 200% of their original budget. And in doing so, you ignored what Boozer stated, that some projects would go unfunded. That project that went unfunded was Dublin Elementary, and you did it there and then when the superintendent was talking to you about it. I was there speaking at the dais to you, asking you to really reevaluate how much money you are spending on these projects that are not going to reap the number of new seats we need for our growing district. We had family members and others from Dublin Elementary at the dais begging you to give them funding. You unfunded Dublin Elementary in March of 2019. And when we came back in November and Dr. Markin presented us with the allocations that would tie into a new bond measure. By the way, a bond measure that now has specific project language, something you could not do with Measure H, even though the community demanded you do it. So we ended up reiterating, going back and forth on that chart, which by the way was inaccurate if you had read it. We had misappropriations written on that chart and you were happy to approve it, but we withheld the vote for it. And we did so because we have a fiduciary responsibility to be accurate. And I want to be very clear. I understand this is personal for you, Amy. We've got to understand that Area 4 deserves a trustee who absolutely represents them, who is financially and fiduciary responsibility comes first to our students. That I don't answer to the other groups in this city because I answer to students first. And you may not like the way I vote, but I vote for them and only them. And I'm not going to vote your way just because you want to bully me into voting a certain way. I swore an oath to this state to abide by the law and the rules that we have and to honor our position as a trustee. You may not like what I do, but I do it for our students.
Thank you, Gabby. Do we have anybody who would like to make comments for 30 seconds?
Alice, this is Jean Josie. I'd like to make a comment.
Go for it.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jean Josie. I live in Dublin. I wear a couple of different hats in Dublin. Some of you may know me as a council member within the city of Dublin, but I also, in my day job, I work for the Dublin Unified School District. I'm not in the DTA and I'm not in the CSEA. I work as the coordinator for the tutoring program. So we are a unique group at Dublin High School and we're in neither of the bargaining units. But in that role, I've been with the school district for 6 years. And in that time, I've gone to pretty much every school board meeting for those years and many before that that did not conflict with the council meeting. And I would just like to say that in that time, I have never seen a more divisive school board member who has been disrespectful to our district staff. And it honestly pains me to speak out against somebody that's not in my nature. I much prefer to either be supportive or to be silent. But I would just like to say that Ms. Blackman, while she's super nice personally, and I actually quite enjoy the personal conversations that she and I have had, I cannot support her endorsement tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that needs to speak out on this?
Ellis, can I share a few words?
Go for it.
Thank you. I don't support Gabby Blackman's endorsement tonight. Much of what has been said resonates with me, but I did just want to reiterate, you know, when we brought forward our TA and Trustee Blackman voted against that, that really did harm our credibility. And it also damaged, we had given our word and we had made that offer to the association. And I feel like walking back on that, given that we knew already that the financial picture was in the process of changing, that's something that's really stuck with me. You know, in 2018, I met Liz Ortega at the Alameda Labor Council, and she talked about you know, supporting working people and supporting labor and not having to call in and ask for favors, having elected officials who will stand up for working people and keep their word. And I feel like that vote was really a violation of that trust, and it has really stuck with me. And for that, that reason, I can't support endorsing Gabby Blackman. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else need to speak? I feel like several people have spoken against Gabby. Gabby, would you like another 30 seconds to rebuttal any of this?
Thank you, Alice. I appreciate it. I just want to be clear a couple times. Somebody had brought up the issue of the equity group that was forming, and I had contacted leadership at the district to request if this was a formal committee, and was informed no. They would be advised as a trustee not to participate because it wasn't recognized by the district. So just to be clear, and I followed through on that advice. In addition, we were advised by legal counsel to not approve the TA. And so whereas other people may feel you want to do things, as a trustee, you actually have to make very difficult decisions. And we have to rely on the advice of our legal team. It's not good enough to want to do things because you like it. Should the state not have actually brought funding forward, we would have been funding our district without enough money, which puts our teachers' jobs at risk. And so in order to retain as many teachers as possible, it's necessary that we have balanced budgets. I take that very seriously. In terms of like the number of voters in our district, I ran in 2016 and garnered 7,000 votes in our district. In March, we tried to have an election, but as trustees didn't want to produce that, they moved the election to June when families would be on vacation and summer break. Just getting turnout to come out to vote for any kind of majority was a huge effort. So to say that there wasn't enough people voting for me also doesn't focus on the fact that we went to by area. It was very difficult, as you may know, to actually have an election when it doesn't fall on a regular date. So we're very happy with the turnout that we had in June, and I'm very pleased to have represented my district. The members of the board here who are speaking out against me represent other areas. And because they're no longer in the majority on the board, they're adamant to ensure that the majority doesn't have a voice anymore. If I'm not reelected, it means that Area 4 will not have a voice anymore, and we will revert back to the way we were years ago. And I stand by every single vote I have because that's supported by the public who I represent, all the public. Everybody in this district wants to have a balanced budget based on facts, numbers, and funding from the state. And I stand by those decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby.
Ellis, is it possible to make a comment, or do you?
Go on.
Ellis, I'd like to make a comment if possible.
Sean, go for it.
This is just really quick. I just want to say that I am a constituent of Gabby's. I live in her district. I was overall supportive of her last time. This time I'm supporting Michael Utsumi. He's a good friend and neighbor, but I just think he's got the temperament. I think we obviously have some bridges to build in Dublin, and we have a very difficult task ahead of us. And I think Michael will do a good job of that. I'm really more kind of supporting him than anything. I think he'll do a great job. He's been doing the important work of supporting our students for years. And he's just really got the smarts, the temperament to do good things for our district.
So I take it you won't be pulling Michael Tsumi.
No.
Megan, I've given you your time, and I'd like to move on. Van Rainey, you would like to pull somebody?
Yeah, and this isn't really any kind of contention issue. Basically, we've supported a couple of candidates for mayor in San Ramon and Dublin in the past because we're quite familiar with these candidates and they're quite familiar with us. And Dr. Dinesh and Arun are also perfectly qualified, I think, in many ways. But I thought it would be important for the group to express a preference. And so even though we can endorse more than one candidate, I think it kind of dilutes the impact of that endorsement if we endorse both of the opposing contenders. So I'm just looking to see if the club has a preference for one over the other.
Okay, so you're pulling both Dr. Dinesh and Arun Goel.
Correct.
Okay, I got it. Okay, and
oh, and by the way, Ellis, I want to put a star next to Turner Stanton's running. He really impresses the hell out of me.
Yeah.
okay, but you're not pulling him.
No,
Okay.
no, I just want to put a star
Just
next to
get
his
this
name.
straight. Sean, are you going to pull anybody else? Sean,
Yes, I had one other race I'd like to pull. I'd like to pull Dr. Wamo's race. Similar lines to what Van just said. You know, we previously endorsed Kristen Pelham. She's been endorsed by the Alameda County Democratic Party, by the Building Trades Council of Alameda County, who've been great friends. I think I saw Greg on here.
I'll tell you what. This will count your 2 minutes on pulling Dawn, Dr. Dawn. So go for it, Sean, and then Van, I'll let you talk some more about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
and then
to
we'll
jump
have
the gun.
candidates rebuttal that. Okay.
I don't
So
have
go
any
for
more
it, Sean.
further. I don't have anything further to say, Alice. I just want to give people the opportunity to express
Okay.
a preference.
So you've got your 2 minutes in, and Sean, why don't you give us your 2 minutes on Dr. Dawn?
Well, I don't know that there's going to be much to rebut. I actually, this is the first time I've ever heard from Dr. Wamwell. You know, she didn't attend the two civic forums, I believe, that were put on by the community. But, you know, I think she had some good things to say today. But, you know, I support Kristen Pelham. She came before this club before. We endorsed her. You know, I think that certainly we can endorse two candidates, but only one of them is going to win in this race. And I would advocate for us only endorsing up to the amount of candidates in this race. Like I was saying, Kristen Pelham recently received the endorsement of the Alameda County Democratic Party. She's received the endorsement of Building and Construction Trades Council of Alameda County, which, you know, we have Greg Bonato, who's been a longtime member and supporter of this club from IBEW. That's his trade council. And she's been endorsed by Amy Miller, Megan Rouse, myself, Jean Josie, and many others in the community. So that's all I wanted to say on that.
Okay.
Okay, and since he was just pulling Dr. Dawn, I would like her to rebuttal and then the other two candidates. So Dr. Dawn.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Alice, as we spoke prior to the last meeting, you informed me that I would not be given the opportunity to speak at the last meeting. However, it would not have any effect on the equity of the process. And you did inform me that any number of candidates could be endorsed and there was no difference in speaking in August or September. And now it seems like this is a popularity contest based on first come, first serve, and who has been endorsed by an incumbent and favors that are being pulled at multiple levels. So if this is not truly a democratic process, I respect that, but this doesn't demonstrate an equitable process as a Democratic Party. Thank you.
I would like to say that it's probably my screw up not having Dr. Dawn and Kristen Pelham at the prior meeting. And it's not like she's a newbie, and it's just that juggling too many balls at one time. So I will take the whatever heat there is for that. And that is correct. I did tell you that, and it's still the case. So we have the ability to endorse more than one capable endorsable candidate. And yes. Is there anybody else who has anything to say about pulling Dr. Dawn from the consent calendar?
I would, Ellis.
Okay, Amy.
Yeah, as you and I spoke earlier, and I was confused about the fact that more than one person can be endorsed when there's only one seat available like that. I haven't really, that's a kind of a new thing to me, you know, and I know that that's sort of the way things are done in a lot of places, and this is done differently. And I personally think Dawn has a lot of great qualities and characteristics and would make a great trustee. I am supporting Kristen because I think she is a perfect candidate. I've served on committees with her. She's involved in our community. She is a teacher. We haven't had a teacher lens on our school board in the 10 years I've been there. And I think that's a critical piece. She's a special ed teacher. I think she understands diversity and inclusion and is a great candidate. And it's sad that we can't have, I wish there was another seat. You know, I think we have a lot of great candidates tonight, and it's not personal and there's no favors being done. I don't even understand what that means exactly. It's just a matter of community, you know, and just to say, you know, just as an example, you know, get on Facebook, you know, and we learn, you know, a little bit about who people are. And, you know, we're a small town here in Dublin, and I got on Facebook and I only had one connection, you know, with Dawn, which doesn't mean anything, but it just meant something to me. We had one connection of someone who lived in me. And so it's not personal. It's just, I'm interested in seeing people serve who've been serving in this community. And I'm interested in seeing new people come in. I think there's a place for Dawn in our community somewhere doing something. And it's a shame we don't have two seats. So I just wanted Dawn to know that I don't think it's because nobody thinks she's a great candidate. It's just that endorsing two people for one seat doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. That's really what it comes down to.
We tell them why we did that.
Well, for those of you who were not at our January 2019 meeting, we had a proposed bylaws change, which would have said that the candidate who gets the most votes gets the endorsement. And that got voted down. Right. And you're looking at two people on the screen who disagreed.
I feel like these candidates might be just starting out, and we should give them all the confidence that they really need, you know?
So, you know, I've had my hand raised. Can you hear me?
Oh,
sorry.
Nora, go ahead.
Okay. So as you know, Ellis, that was something that I had discussed in January and that got voted down. That's fine. So since we have forever and ever have allowed to endorse more than one person, I think what Dr. Dawn is saying, is it correct? Is that, you know, it shows that we're all of a sudden now deciding that we're not going to do that. That doesn't seem right. So I think that this point has to be handled in the fact that our bylaws allow it, period. And so for somebody to come in there and say now that, well, there's only one position and we only should endorse one person. No, that's not what the way the bylaws are. And so that should not be something that we should be discussing at this point. We can endorse more than one person. So we need to give just as much opportunity for the San Ramon mayor that they were mentioning about Dinesh. Same thing with the Dublin mayor with Arun, and same thing with Dr. Dawn and whoever else today that came on, because we didn't have them in the last meeting with the other people. To have them against each other, determine who to endorse is irrelevant.
Can I say something? Because I feel like my ask.
And then Dr. Dawn has something to say, but go ahead.
I feel like my ask is being twisted a little bit. I'm not saying that we can't vote for another candidate. We will abide by the bylaws, as we should, which allows us an option to vote for another candidate on top of what is allowed for that race. What I'm saying, advocating for, is that it dilutes our efficacy as a club if we're endorsing as many candidates as we want on every single race. Because if you endorse 2 candidates when there's only 1 seat, then basically you're saying we're not endorsing anyone. It's what the Democratic Central Committee would call a non-endorsement, essentially. So that's my only point. I'm not
Sean,
saying
this
that we
was
shouldn't
discussed in
follow the
January.
bylaws and allow for people to receive the votes. They should.
Yeah, but
We do that cleanly with the new election.
One at a time, and the next one to speak is Dawn, and then Nora's got something else, and Jackie
Okay.
something. Okay, so Dr. Dawn.
Thank you. I hear your perspective, Sean. However, I think when you're running a Democratic group with this many people involved and so much at stake, I think that a consistent process that's well articulated is important. And what I'm seeing in the last few months, I asked if I could speak at the same time as Kristen. I was not given the opportunity. So when you're talking about supporting a Proposition 16 in equity, this is not an equitable process. In regards to Amy, I appreciate your supportive words, Amy. Thank you. I would like to point out, however, that when you make a comment about you don't know who I am because you don't have anyone connected to me, I think that's a reason why there needs to be more community and diversity and connection in Dublin, because people are staying in their silos and their communities that they're comfortable with, and we're not bridging the gap. And that's an example that you've given today of how the gaps will remain there if we don't start bridging the communities and not staying in a comfort zone for what we feel comfortable in just promoting people that we know. So, but thank you for your words of support.
We have to vote.
I forgot who was next, Jackie or Nora. But Nora's spoken already, so Jackie, go ahead.
Actually, I think it was Sean.
No, Sean already spoke.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I just want the process to be fair and even and consistent. And if that's what we're doing, if that's what we did last month for people that are going to run in November, we should continue to do that through this election. And if we're going to change the bylaws and make it different, I understand that. And I understand what Sean's saying. That's what the Central Committee does. But we need to be consistent and follow the same rules for everybody.
Okay, so we vote on all of them then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do
Nora,
that.
did you have one last
No,
comment?
that's exactly, I agree with what Jackie's saying. That's exactly my
Okay.
point.
Is there anybody else who needs to speak on Dr. Dawn's being pulled?
Ellis, this is Michelle Smith McDonald. I just wanted to reiterate, I think, of a couple of the points that were already made, which is that if there has to be consistency in how we're doing this process. And I don't feel like it's being consistently applied. I think that we're all grown-ups here. And so I think this idea that we can't endorse 2 candidates and then let the Democratic voters of the area know that we think there are 2 really strong candidates here and that they need to do their homework, get more information, and make a good choice, then we're selling people short.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
Good idea. Okay.
Okay. Let's move on to we're pulling Arun Golem and Goel, excuse me. And Van pulled a name, and he gave the same talk for him and Dr. Dinesh, which is basically to give the members a choice since we've already endorsed 2 candidates. Is there anybody who would, well, Arun, why don't you speak for yourself first of all?
First of all, thank you, Ellis, and you guys, I hope you can hear me. I regret for not having been maybe reaching out earlier to this club, but when I did reach out, my conversations with Ellis, which I'm very grateful for, were about an hour and a half, and we had a really good conversation at which time, Ellis, I think you'll remember you offered to contact Councilmember Hernandez to see if she would be interested in having a dedicated forum, one that could be more transparent and more available to all. I believe at that point, after your contact with her, the indication was no, they wanted to proceed with the agenda.
That's correct.
I respected that process because, quite honestly, Ellis, you're not in an easy position. Running any sort of political organization, you're going to have two sides of the coin represented. And I'm grateful to even be able to talk to everyone today, to at least allow me to share a story about me and maybe what I'm worth or not worth to whoever is deciding. And I think I've been given that opportunity today. I'll let the rest of you guys figure out your guys' bylaws. I'm not here to challenge about what you do or don't do and the accuracy of that. I've always been the type to abide by the law. And, wherever you guys feel is appropriate, I respect that. And we're going to move forward. That's the way good things happen. We all move forward together as a united front. We acknowledge whatever needs to change, and we make the changes where it's appropriate. That's democracy. So I do thank you guys. And yeah, I understand it's not personal. I get it. I'm cool. And I respect the
I
opportunity.
do feel bad for him though.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so we have to
Thank you.
endorse everybody.
Does anybody else want to make a comment concerning Arun's candidacy for mayor?
I do.
Go for it.
Okay, you can hear me? Okay. So I always felt that our club always had debates between candidates. Since we did not do that, and my understanding is last time the agenda had Melissa and she was endorsed. I wasn't on that meeting call, but that's fine. Because we just discussed this with Dr. Dawn as well, is that there is no reason for us not to pose it for our members to determine who they want to support, who they want to endorse. And if we have good candidates that we feel still can represent our voters and our members, then we should be able to vote on them. And that's something that, again, that we can look at bylaws later after all this is done, but not right now. And, I like some things that Arun stands for. I like the fact that he's an engineer and structural engineer, because everybody that I talk to, I've only moved here 2 years, and everybody that I talk to has been talking to me about how it's so crowded here. Why did I move here? Why did I leave Utah and come here? When people are trying to get out of California, and because of the traffic, because of the structural issues, and he has that qualification. He has that background to make sure that we don't become another Fremont. Okay, all my family lives in Fremont. It is crazy there. So, it's important that we have that type of experience. He has the experience with his education for that. And I like the fact I also moved here because of air quality. He's been endorsed by the Sierra Club. That's important to me. My son has a lot of health issues, and that's why we moved Utah, believe it or not, was because of the bad air quality. And I chose Dublin over Livermore because I checked over Livermore and anywhere else in the Tri-Valley because of that reason. So I'm really happy that he is been endorsed by the Sierra Club. We all know their reputation. They don't endorse lightly. So for me, it's important that he gets a fair shake in the voting.
Okay. So let's endorse all of them, Alice.
Sharon.
Ellis, can I say something?
Who is that?
That's Amelia.
Okay,
hi,
go for it, Amelia. We can't see your face, though.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
You're going to take my voice for now. Sorry. I just wanted to say that I think, if anything, 2020 has taught us that, climate change is very, very real. And it's affecting our lives in so many ways, both from the pandemic and the fires and everything else. And one of the biggest things that we can do to protect our air quality and protect our way of life in California is to increase urban density. And that doesn't mean that we want to lose all of our open spaces, but I do think that means smart building. And there's a lot of smart ways, equitable ways to do that in Dublin and build housing at all levels, market rate affordable and middle income. And we really need leadership that's ready to engage on those ideas and work with the community to bring them along on it. It'll also really reduce, outside of fire season, our air quality, because so many of our emissions come from these really long commutes of, people traveling these really far distances for work. So the more we build out and out, the more that's a problem. So for all of those reasons, and also as someone who is working hard to try and pass Prop 16 and really believing in uplifting women's voices, and particularly women of color, I just want to speak to my support of Melissa in this mayoral's race. So thanks for your time.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to speak concerning pulling Arun Goel from the list?
Can I just add that I am a woman of color, by the way, if you can't tell by the screen?
Okay, and I'm not.
Hey, Alice, I think there's somebody's hand raised. Michelle Smith McDonald has her hand raised.
Already spoke. Thank you. Lowering my hand.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you for picking that up, Jackie. Okay, we have one more candidate that's been pulled. Van pulled him, and it's Dr. Dinesh. And Van, have you said everything you're going to say about that?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Dinesh, tell us why we shouldn't pull you.
Hey, thanks, Alice, and thank you, everyone. You know, just like Dr. Don said and Arun, I mean, you know, a lot of the things that they said, I echo. And again, you know, when I reached out to Ellis, he kind of, you know, gave me the indication, yes, you know, I have to wait till the September meeting to be, you know, to present myself, and that there's, you know, that this committee will be, you know, we'll be looking at they can endorse more than one candidate. So, you know, I don't see the reasons that have been given really compelling enough to vote against me. And again, you know, I know Sean had made some comments too, and I really say this, and I respect everyone's opinion, and I, you know, that's great. You know, we need to have this, you know, be able to have a dialogue, and at the end of the day, you know, we share our opinions, we talk about what it is, and then we move on from it, and you know, don't hold any grudges and whatever it is. But I just want to raise a couple of things, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but I know, Sean, you had mentioned, you know, about kind of your reasonings. And one of the things that I want to just say, we're all rational, intelligent people here, and I just want to look and see something that maybe is a little strange here, is that, you know, APAPA, I know, which you're a big supporter of, is a purpose. It's a grassroots, community-based, nonprofit organization that's focused on Asian Pacific Islander civic, you know, participation at the local, state, and national level. And it doesn't say you know, it does not say except when you run for mayor of San Ramon. You know, so as that, to really support and like I think Ellis's wife had mentioned, to really help some of these new candidates like myself to be able to, you know, get out there and be able to be seen, at least, you know, and for folks to be able to do, I think is very important. And so, you know, I find it a little, you know, I mean, hypocritical a little bit to say, hey, you know, on one hand, we support APAPA's purpose, but then now we're contradicting a little bit and saying, hey, we're pulling my name. And I really mean that with, I mean, there's no disrespect there. I find that a little bit hard to digest. So I just want to just mention that. I'd like to keep these things positive. I'm running a very positive campaign. When I look at leadership qualities in a mayor, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, you know, or an elected official, it's someone who you can connect with and relate with within our community. Someone who will truly listen, not just nod their heads. And I've walked many precincts in San Ramon. I've been here for 41 years. I mean, I'm sorry, I haven't been here. I mean, I call this home for 41 years. I moved here 41 years ago. And I walked in many precincts, and you can drop me in any precinct in San Ramon, and I'm able to genuinely connect with the people. Doesn't matter what their background is, doesn't matter what their age is, I am able to connect with them. Next, I'd like to discuss my proven track record of being a natural born leader. That's something that can't be taught. I mean, and I'll give you a couple examples. When I was the medical director at Boeing Satellite Systems, I had 1 year experience, just one. And this was a job that required 5 to 10 years experience. Someone who was quite experienced, that had a great interview with the safety manager. They interviewed multiple times. They brought me in, and within 6 to 12 months, corporate was wanting to elevate me and get me to that next level.
Can we get a time check?
Sorry, okay, we moved back to the Bay Area, and I've time and time again done that with other areas. With Concentra, I was the youngest physician to rise to their executive level, and now I work as a chief medical officer for a state agency. And I had a lot of workers' comp experience, but no industry experience. And now we're industry leaders when it comes to medical initiatives. I've done this time after again. And, you know, and I feel these entities, they didn't give me the opportunity. They would have lost out and not reaped the benefits and accolades for my leadership. So I hope you consider that. And again, you know, I know you're all intelligent, rational, fair people. And I hope you consider what I just said and would really appreciate your support, endorsement, and vote.
Sean, were you raising your hand?
Yeah, I wanted to respond to what Dr. Dinesh said.
Go for it.
First of all, you know, welcome to our club. Welcome to, you know, using a PAPA and the Democratic Party as, you know, a means to your end. A PAPA is a nonpartisan group that, yes, promotes API civic engagement. We're not we do not endorse candidates. Sabina knows that because she's on the board with me. Sabina is also a member of this club. She's also a very active Democrat, and she has been endorsed by the Democratic Party, and she has been made a priority race so that we can elect a woman of color, the first ever Muslim in San Ramon. So for me, that is a priority. That's a priority. And you're welcome to come, become a member of this club, become engaged with the Democratic Party, and then maybe next time I would vote for you.
Is that it, Sean? Yeah.
That's it.
Is there anybody else who has anything to say about the candidacy of Dr. Dinesh?
I would like to.
Go for it, Kevin.
Yeah, so I guess it's not necessarily for or against. Maybe it's more of a question for Dr. Dinesh. And if you covered it in your intro, then excuse me. But is this your first elected office that you're seeking? And if so, can you share why you know, the mayor, the lead of local government, is an entry-level position?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Kevin. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, thank you for asking that question. And absolutely, this is my first run at it as an elected official. Running for an elected position. Why is it mayor? And, you know, I'll tell you this, I didn't wake up yesterday saying I want to be mayor of San Ramon. This is something I've been thinking about probably for the last 12 years. And, you know, when Mayor Wilson was in office, now you may wonder, well, why didn't you run then? Okay, well, I'm gonna kind of walk you through my process here. I have 4 kids I was raising, had a, you know, really, you know, have a really, you know, great job that I work at. Now, within those 4 years, I chose to use my volunteer time, like I mentioned earlier, to dedicate to uplifting youth. And that's what I used those 12 years. If you look at what I did around, I mean, I was in pretty much all year round, either coaching sports for kids and sometimes 3
1 minute remaining.
And so that was a big area of my, you know, where I focus a lot of my energy. I also focus a lot of my energy with volunteering in the kids' classrooms and doing stuff for field trips. So I felt like I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do something, I'm not going to just jump into something and do it for namesake. I'm going to give my heart and soul to do something, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's the reason why, you know, I chose at this point. Now my kids, some of them are graduated, and now I have this time to do this. Why mayor? Because I feel with mayor, you need someone with the COVID crisis, with someone who's deeper in the community to really understand the fabric of this community, to understand the COVID. You can have a mayor and a physician who can hopefully have a seat at the table at the county level, which I've already had conversations with the physicians there, the county health officer.
15 seconds.
And so I have worked, you know, and so someone like that would have a better seat who can hopefully influence policy as opposed to just listen to policy. And so that's how I see why I think the mayor position for me was the right choice to go as opposed to a council position. And that's the reason I'm running in this mayoral race.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
We out of speakers. That is, anybody else need to speak on this issue?
I think it's time to vote.
Okay, it's time to vote. So first off, we'll take a vote on the consent calendar. And this I don't believe that we have to do within the participants box because nobody has taken objection to anybody who remains on the consent calendar. So all in favor of accepting the consent calendar, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to accepting the consent calendar? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. So first off, open the participant box, please, and maybe expand it to max, so you have as many names as possible. And you'll see on the bottom, that's great. I thought, okay, we don't have a yes and no. We're going to do a raise hands. So all in favor of endorsing Dr. Dinesh, raise your hand. Hit the raise hands thing on the bottom.
Ellis, why don't we did the consent calendar that
Just
includes everybody.
Stop.
Where is the raise policy? There it is. Okay.
Okay, so all in favor of endorsing Dr. Dinesh, raise their hand.
Where is the raise hand?
The raised hand should be on the bottom. Raise hand.
No.
I don't see it.
I see it it's right there.
You have to pull up the chat. Pull up the chat, and then it's on the.
It's not the chat, it's the participant box.
I thought we were endorsing
The
everybody.
participants across the bottom.
Right. But
Across the bottom. I'm
That
not sure how it's operating on an
It's
iPad.
not on tablets. It's not on iPads. iPads and computers and every device is different. And I'm on an iPad and I don't have it.
Ellis,
Okay,
I'm going to just go down the
I don't
list
have
of-
either.
Ellis, on your tablet or your phone, you have to tap on your name and it brings up the controls.
I didn't understand that.
It's a little hard. My suggestion is that we take each member who is here today, and since we have 4 candidates that have been pulled, Dinesh, Arun, Dawn, and Gabby, we ask each individual member that's here whether they would endorse any of those or all of them.
Okay.
And in that case, I can take a quick tally as the voting tally person and see what we have for each of those 4 candidates, since all the other candidates have been endorsed.
Okay, in that case, I will read the members' names, and you and Jackie, please keep score. Okay?
Hold on. I found someone mentioned tapping your name in the list of the participants to get the menu that has raised hand. So my problem is gone. Maybe others have.
Is there anybody who can't raise their hand?
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
every phone, every whatever is going to be different. Like on my phone, you have to go under more and chat and then do a raise hand. So my suggestion to you guys, in order to make this easy for Ellis, okay, to do this, is that whoever can see all the participants on the screen, whichever one of you guys have that access on your screen, that you go ahead and go through each name, and then whoever's going to tally that down, and then you'll know.
Okay.
I will raise their hand like this as members, as you call them out, Ellis.
Okay.
You know what?
I have an idea too.
Please, Sharon, we have one idea at a time.
Okay, maybe we've already voted on all the others. How about the 4 that have, the people that have been pulled, just raise their hands?
That's what we're doing, Sharon.
Yeah.
Okay. So
one more idea. Why don't we, all of us who can use the technology, use it, and then
it'll just be harder for them
on the other.
They'll have to look at one, they'll have to look at the other. It's easier for them just to physically see your hand and do it that way. One system is easier for them.
I want to go to bed.
I'm doing the voting tabulation, and many of the people are black, and I can't see any picture from them.
Okay. So I'm just going to read the names.
Right.
And we'll just say if there's either all yes or whatever one is no. Okay? So that's what we'll do. We'll start with me, and I'm going to abstain on all of them. Okay, Sharon, what are you going to do?
I'll vote for all of them.
Okay, so that's 4 yeses.
Okay.
Bob Naylor, what are you going to do?
Since I'm down in Ventura, I'm going to abstain too.
Okay. Alan Nakashir, what are you going to do?
Ellis, are you keeping tabs?
I am.
Okay.
Ron is keeping tabs.
Okay. Okay.
Alan Nakashir. No answer. He went to sleep. Eloise, what are you going to do?
I'll vote for all.
Okay, Noor, if I remember correctly, you're not a member at this point.
I lost my membership for a few months here in pandemic.
Okay. Ron Lorenz.
I'm voting, I'm abstaining.
From all of them.
Abstaining from all.
Amelia.
I abstain, not voting on any of them except for Dr. Dawn. She's got my vote.
And you, is it yes for Dr. Dawn?
Yes for Dr. Dawn.
Okay, Amelia
Okay.
gave us a yes on Dr. Dawn. Okay, and somehow these are bouncing around. Okay, Ron. Amy Miller.
Okay, I am a no for Arun, an abstain for Dinesh, a no for Gabby, and a yes for Dawn.
What was the last one?
A yes for Dawn.
Okay, that was
Oh.
Amy Miller.
Ellis,
Okay.
sorry, I didn't realize. So if I don't want to endorse someone, that I need to vote a no on them?
Yeah.
Oh, then can I change mine to yes to Dr. Dawn, no to everyone else?
Who is this is speaking?
That's Amelia. I apologize.
Amelia.
Okay, so
He did
Amelia,
get
That's
that.
good. That's what I have you tabbed
Yeah, he
for.
did get that.
Thank you so much.
okay. We got Ron. Brody.
No for everyone.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. These keep on popping around. Mary Perner.
No for everyone.
Okay.
Valerie Arkin.
Yes, I'm here. I will vote yes on Dr. Dawn, and I will
Okay.
vote no on the rest.
And what about the rest of your family? Are they there to vote?
Brian is, he's the only one, and he is voting the same. Yes for Dawn, no on the rest.
He needs to come
Okay.
on and do that. You guys can't just take that.
Okay. Okay.
Come
Jackie.
on.
I agree. He would need to say it.
Come on. He needs to come
Get
on.
him
We all
up,
know
get
that.
him up to the video.
He's in his pajamas, and he will not
Get him.
come over here with his pajamas.
Then you can't vote him. Then you can't vote him.
Okay, Ellis, is that right?
Did Brian say yes?
Huh?
Is Brian there?
He is here. He's in his pajamas. He's not
I don't
coming.
care. You can vote in your pajamas.
Come to yell.
Nick
Okay.
is, Nick
we'll
is not
take it.
here. Nick is
I
not.
think we'll take Valerie's word for what Brian's saying. Okay.
I lost.
Jeff Nibbert. Oh, wait a
I vote
second.
yes
Did we get
on-
Brody? Did we get Brody?
Yes.
Yes.
You did?
Yeah, she said 4 no.
Oh, yes, but could you go over the candidates, the 4 candidates? Is it Dawn, Gabby?
The 4 candidates, Dr. Dinesh, Arun Goel, Dawn, Dr. Dawn, that is, and Gabby Blackman.
Yes, I vote the same.
Okay. No for all of them.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Now where are we?
Next person.
My
Let's see, we have Dr. Dinesh's mother, I think. She doesn't get the vote. Amelia?
You already asked?
I'm no for everybody but the Dr. Dawn.
You already got her.
Okay.
Yeah, you already got her.
Yeah,
You already got her.
they seem to be scrolling around, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of the list.
Ellis, if you go into participants, you can go from the names down. That way you can check who the
Yeah,
members are.
that's where I am. I'm
That'll be
reading the participants, but they keep on popping around. Okay, Megan Rouse.
Thank you. I vote yes for Dr. Don Wamwo, and I vote no for the rest.
Okay. Melissa Hernandez.
She's not up.
I
She's
vote,
not there.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm voting no for Goel.
I don't see only Melissa Hernandez. I see no other Hernandez on our
Yeah,
voting
isn't that what I said, Melissa Hernandez?
Correct.
Yeah. So, okay, so we have your vote, Melissa?
No
Okay.
for Goel.
Okay.
And I vote for Dr. Dawn.
Okay.
No for Blackman.
Okay. You can just say the yeses from here
Oh,
on
okay.
out. Yeah, and the other ones we'll just take as a no, and we won't give a slash mark.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Megan Rouse.
Ellis, I have already voted. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's because the names are popping around. Michael Utsumi.
Uh-oh, where did Michael go?
And his wife. They get 2 votes.
Michael, is your mic down off? Where'd he go?
Yeah, he's on mute.
Uh-oh. Michael, you need to unmute.
I've asked him to unmute.
Can you guys unmute him?
Well,
no, he has to unmute himself.
Yeah, we
Okay.
haven't muted anybody.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I am here. So,
Okay.
Ellis, I am abstaining on all 4, please.
Okay. And your wife?
I'll let her speak on her own behalf. She's online.
Good idea.
Yeah. Hi, this
Catherine Utsumi?
I vote yes for Dr. Dawn and abstaining on the rest.
okay.
Okay. Let's see, Newell isn't a member. PJ isn't a member. Is Sabina on? Yeah, Sabina?
I'm on.
Oh, she is.
Okay, go for it.
I'll say no for all.
Okay.
Okay. I'm losing my vision here. Okay, we got Sabina. Samir.
Hi, I'm here.
Samira.
Yep, I will.
Member. Yeah.
I will say no to Dr. Dinesh, meaning I'm not supporting, right? Just want to make sure.
Yes, correct.
Okay, great. No to Gabby.
Okay.
And abstaining from the others. Actually, sorry, hold on. Hold on, I'm going to make sure. Sorry, my fault. So I'm going to say abstain for the others right now.
Yes. Okay, good.
Okay. Sean Kumagai.
I'm going to vote no on all of them.
Okay.
Shirley, I see a Shirley, but what's Shirley's last name? Is Shirley a member?
I don't see a Shirley first name here.
No, neither do I.
Okay, so I guess she's not a member.
Sorry, Ellis, Ron, this is Samir. Can I just say, I'm sorry, I messed up on my, can I say yes for Dawn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so we got Sean, right? Steve Dunbar.
Yes for Dawn, no for Gabby, abstain for the other 2.
Okay.
Okay. Thad first and then Phyllis.
We both vote to abstain for all.
Okay.
Now, I got Valerie Arkin again, but somehow she got to the bottom of the list. Is there anybody out there that is not voted who is a member?
This is
Jeff Nyberg.
Oh,
Yeah,
Van
Richard.
Rainey.
I haven't
Yeah,
voted.
somehow I missed Van Rainey. You must have hopped past me. Go for it, Van.
yes, we're done. No for the rest.
Okay.
Yes for Dawn, no for the rest. Okay.
Is
This
there
is Jean-
anybody else who hasn't voted?
Yeah, Richard Adler. And Jeff
Richard
Nyberg.
Adler. I thought you were the first one that I
Richard.
asked.
No.
No, I never heard anything. No for all.
No for all, okay.
Also, Alan Nakasher.
Okay, Alan, yeah.
Okay,
I'm just
Alan.
abstaining.
Alan, abstaining. Okay.
And I haven't.
Jeff
Helen
Nybert.
Machuga?
Jeff
Okay,
Nybert.
is there anybody else who
Yes.
has?
Yes, I
Me.
have.
Jeff.
Helen?
Jeff.
Oh,
Okay. No on Gabby. Yes on Dr. Don. Abstain on the others.
Who is this?
Jeff.
Jeff
Jeff
Nibbert.
Nybert.
And what about
Okay.
Josie?
Please say your votes again.
Yes on Dr. Don. No on Gabby. Abstain
Okay.
on the others.
Okay.
This is Jean Josie. I have not yet voted.
Okay.
Is Jean
Yes, on-
Josie on our list?
Yes, I am.
Yes, she is.
Okay, Jean Josie's a legal member.
Yes on Dr. Don. No.
Okay.
Say it again, Gene.
No on the rest?
Yes on Dr. Don. No on the rest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I know I saw Joan Sepola, but did she leave the meeting?
I think she did.
I have not voted.
Helen
Is there-
Machuga, and I haven't voted yet.
Who is?
Okay.
I haven't voted yet either.
Hi, Helen.
Who is the
What's your
woman that
votes?
hasn't voted?
Helen, let's
Helen.
listen.
Helen, what?
Machuga.
Machuga.
Okay,
Helen
yeah.
She's on the list. Helen, what are your
Okay.
votes?
And no on all
Helen.
four.
Okay, thank you.
Then Mark Fix.
Oh,
And
Mark.
Right.
Yeah. Somehow I didn't see you on the participants list, Mark.
That's right, I'm
Mark.
hiding. I'm abstaining for everyone, but voting yes for Arun Goel.
Okay.
And
Okay. Is
Evan?
there anybody else?
I think Evan.
Kevin Booth.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance.
Okay.
Mwah.
Ellis, can I recommend that you have the people who haven't voted raise their hand so that they're actually visible in the participants tab for you. So anyone who hasn't voted yet, if you raise your hand, it'll be something that we can see that Ellis can look at.
Van,
I'm
have
just
you,
chiming in.
Van's
Good
just,
idea.
And now, since I haven't voted yet, I'd also want to say this is Evan, and I am voting yes for Dr. Don and no on all other candidates.
okay.
Okay, so who
Then
was
we
that
have-
just now?
Evan Brennan.
Okay, Evan. And
The next one would be Michelle Smith McDonald.
Yes, I'm voting yes on Dr. Don and no on the rest, please. Thank you.
okay, and Kevin Booth.
I would vote not to endorse any of the four that were pulled.
Okay.
And
Jackie?
Jackie.
I'm voting for everybody. Let the voters decide.
Okay.
Thank you, Jackie.
Okay.
Thank you, that's the way I
yes.
feel.
Have we exhausted all of the votes?
I think
I haven't
that's it.
voted yet, please.
Okay.
Who is
And
that?
who is this?
Gabby.
Gabby.
And I like the voters to have their choice, so I would support everyone. including
Okay.
myself.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Okay, Ron, what do you get?
I have 11 abstains, four votes positive for Dinesh. I have 5 votes positive for Arun. I have 4 votes positive for Gabby, which means that they do not meet the requirements. And I have 18 votes for Dawn, and I'm not sure how many total we have. Voters 18 and 11 looks like 29, but I'm not sure of that count.
Well, count the no votes for Dawn.
Ella,
Yeah.
how many out of the
Let's
47
total the-
participants were members? That's what you need to know.
She's got 18 yes, but the question is how many no votes were there? Did 18 represent 60%? And we need to know the no votes on Dawn.
Yeah, well, we didn't tabulate the no votes
Oh,
because,
Oh, that's what they were doing. That they were saying yes
because
and
we didn't,
no.
yeah, right, we didn't tabulate the no votes because what we were gonna do is subtract from the total number
Yeah, but there are.
and subtract out the abstains. There was no
Okay,
way to
so
tally. There was no way to tally, and there was no necessary means to do it because the only one that was close is Dawn, and she's definitely over 50%.
okay.
Well, we needed 60, but I'll
We
assume.
need 60. So, okay, well then what we need to do then is we need to determine how many people actually voted.
No, we have to know how many voted no on Dawn. That's all
Yeah,
we
it's
really
done
need.
differently. It's not done that way in our bylaws.
The bylaws say that some of the
Right.
yes and no votes.
Right,
Yeah,
Ellis.
it's
I'm
some
saying
of the
it's
yes
done the way
and
you're
the no.
saying.
Don't
That's what I'm
count
saying.
toward
Yeah,
Right.
right, Ellis.
percent.
That's what I'm saying. The Ellis,
Okay,
you know the
so
bylaws,
1,
it's
2,
done
3,
differently.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
30,
13,
5.
14,
We got about 45 votes, I think.
He's counting
15,
total votes.
16, 17,
It's only 38 people here.
18. You have 38 votes?
38 is the
You
total
have-
number of people in the meeting right now. So
38 votes.
Yeah, but
Okay,
they aren't necessarily votes.
yeah,
Because
Yeah.
there are people in the
38
meeting
people.
who are
No,
Not
not.
you
everybody in the
have to
meeting,
sub-
like myself, can vote. So
and
that
you
you
have
can't
to-
count that.
If you have 38 voting people and you subtract 11 from
11
the
abstained on
abstain,
everybody.
Yeah.
right, that
So
gives
that's
us the
27.
27 divided by 18 divided by 27. I don't have my calculator.
So that's 66
But
point.
that's not how they calculate it, Ron.
Yes, it
That's
is.
not how
66.
it's done.
Yeah, that's how it's done.
That's how it's done.
The 27 of the yeses plus the nos.
Yeah. So that's 66%.
Okay.
That's 66%. So we have Dr. Dawn and the
everybody
only ones not endorsed are the other three that were pulled separately. This is my count. Dr. Dinesh, Arun, and Gabby did not get endorsed. All the other candidates did.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So Ellis, can I ask you this question? When people abstain from voting, then they are counted as part of the numbers in terms of that 60% or not?
No.
No.
Okay, so
Not
that's what he's doing.
counted. It's
No,
only
that's
the
not what I'm
yeses
doing.
plus the nos. It's the yeses over the yes plus the nos.
Right.
Got to be
That's correct.
60% or greater.
Right. So we had a total of 38 people voting, of which 11 abstained. So that meant that there was 27 votes to yeses and nos.
Okay.
Right. So we had people voting number 27.
Right.
And 18 voted for Dawn out of the 27, which is 66%. So Dawn passes the 60% minimum requirement.
Okay, well, the other ones
And
were
the
5
others
over
did not.
27, 4 over 27, got it. Okay. Okay, that's what I want to know.
That's correct.
There were
Okay, got
different numbers of yeses plus nos for the others. It wasn't all 27.
No, there's some of them were less than that.
Yeah.
But none of them were close to the
This is
the
also a
figure.
6-vote minimum.
You had to get somewhere like 17 votes or 16
Yes.
votes
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
it. And no other people did. So
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We
Well,
have
thank
the
you so
results.
much.
We are ready to adjourn the meeting.
I joined the meeting.
And I would like to adjourn the meeting in memory of notorious Ruth Bader Ginsburg, our great loss.
Yeah.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks to all for voting and for listening. This was quite a lively meeting with a lot of participation, and we ran over 3 hours.
Right. Can I ask
So-
if you donate to a senator that is impossible of getting a Senate seat? We've got like several people are trying to donate to McGrath, but that's not going to happen. She's got plenty of money, and it's not going to happen against McConnell. So the only thing we can do, the only way we can do this is we got to get that Senate. So let's get those toss-up seats and start donating to those candidates. I think there's about
Good
5
idea.
or 6 I saw.
And the most critical one is the one in Arizona, because it's not a regular election, it's a special election. And if Mark, whatever his name is, I forget his last name.
Kelly.
Mark Kelly
Kelly.
gets elected, he gets seated in November. And if we can pull Mitt Romney into the good guys column.
We've been working on them in Utah.
Stalled
My
until-
people in Utah have been working on them. I have a lot of Democrats that register as Republicans to do that, actually, in Utah.
Well, good luck. I hope you succeed.
I do too.
Thank
We
you
hope
all for
you
a
succeed.
wonderful meeting.
I have to ask you
leave.
something, one thing, Nora.
Yes.
You have a pink mask?
Do I have a big mask?
You have a pink mask to go with.
A pink mask? No, no, but I got to show you guys my oh, it's not here. I've got a hat that I got made that says BYDON. Okay, BYDON for Biden, but by Dawn, and it says Restore America.
Ah,
Very nice.
So
Good deal.
and Jerry
right.
McNerney's,
Bye.
take care.
Jerry McNerney's
Bye.
selling
Thank you.
masks that
Good
say
night,
support.
PJ.
Good night.
Good night,
And
all.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Good night, all. Well done.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
Bye.